Hi guys, welcome to Knit Night. My name is Therese, and I am joined by my friend Liz of Liz Clothier Designs. We're also joined by our friend Caro of the Ripperverse and the Caroverse.
I'm just here.
All of it. No, you're not just here. And our friend Annie from A Stitch in the Sky.
Who
Lovely
stays up
British
late
friend.
to join us.
Yes. And we appreciate it so much.
Fall asleep live on air.
I don't think none of us have done that yet. Neil's come close when he's holding the cats a couple times, I think, but
My eyes were closing, I think, last time or the time before.
Stop drinking chamomile tea. You got to drink something zestier.
Yeah, that is what I've got, actually. It is chamomile. If I drink coffee, I'll be waking up all night when I do get to bed. So
yeah, I get that. Hope everybody's.
So what's going on?
It's June.
I might disappear because of the storm outside. I apologize in advance for the decisions that Mother Nature has made in my area.
Well, just stay safe. That's all we care about.
So,
we don't want anybody to.
Thunder and lightning, or is it just sort of extreme winds and rain?
Did you see on the news those 3 people in Italy who died in a flash flood? And it was awful because the 3 of them were standing in the river hugging each other. They were 6 or 2 meters away from shore, but they didn't want to wade through chest-high waters. So instead of going to shore and grabbing onto trees, they grabbed onto each other, and unfortunately they all died when the waters came.
That's
It was
unfortunate.
just like, it's very sad because that's how quick the weather can change on you. Because I guess they were tourists and didn't realize how the flash floods would be. But it just, they were 6 feet, but they refused to wade in chest high waters.
To answer your question, Annie, it is thunder, rain, and wind, and a warning that the dam in my area might break. So
Extreme.
Well, that's exciting.
oh yeah,
I like you said exciting, not fun, because it's not fun.
No,
but
it's not
could be
fun.
exciting.
No, but it's exciting. Yeah.
yeah. Somebody once told me this is fun. I was like, your idea of fun and mine are very different. My idea of fun is I watch anime and make a sweater
and eat cotton candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be part of the big heat wave where you are, Caro?
Maybe. I don't know. We've had so much rain the last week. Ever since Monday, it's been nothing but thunder. Last week, the power went out on Tuesday in the entire area, and some people didn't get it back up until last Thursday.
Ooh, that's not good.
At one point, everything at work came to a standstill because it was can't print labels. We don't have power. I don't know what to do.
Oh,
You guys have had a lot of weather lately.
yeah. So
The
and
girl.
you won't be bathtub crew.
Oh. Take a
What she
bath
was in the
later.
bath.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, Two Sisters and Some Yarn has the new podcast out that they posted
They
yesterday.
do.
I still have to watch it today. I did watch
I
Shauna
watched it
Stitches.
today. I'm behind on her.
Well, she hadn't
No.
podcasted for a month,
I know.
but yeah.
Neil, he's
no.
probably recovering from his big excursion.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
expedition.
He said he was too tired. He was going to sleep.
Oh.
It was probably
Crybaby.
more the excitement of seeing Annie than the drive.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, we had
I believe it.
walks. So
And her dog.
Yeah, I heard he made friends
cute.
with your dog.
yeah,
I like the picture of you guys in the car and the dog just grinning.
She's cute, Lottie. She's very cute.
It's fun.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I have a
Liz,
finished
what are
job.
you working on?
well, I'm crocheting corner to corner for Let Them Live out of this Bernat Softy Baby, which I really, really do not like. It's got a really funky texture, but it's machine washable, so hopefully it'll soften up once it's done. And then I have a finished object that I finished the other
Yay.
day. Yay,
Mhm.
which is my other version of my cardigan pattern that's coming out this fall. And I proving that it works in worsted as well it does in Aran. Worsted's easier to
Nice.
find. And then
Mhm.
Nice.
I started a swatch for my
You
crochet
started
blanket.
all the things.
I did. I was in cast on itis big time. I think it's, I was never diagnosed with ADHD as a child, and I think it's because I crocheted, because that was my way of handling stress or playing clarinet. Either one. Those when I got stressed, that's what I did. And now that my daughter has been diagnosed, she sees all the signs on me. And this week was a big had to do all the things. And so I
Yes.
started a swatch for a
Or you do nothing, which is the
blanket.
other way of
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
It's a crochet blanket. That's the one side, and then the other
Nice.
side is just stripes.
That's really nice.
So, yeah. So I just have to.
I swear
know
we're going to
the
change the name of the podcast.
I know. I know. I know the pattern works. I had made one for my son with this pattern about 7 years ago, and I never wrote it down. So it took me a while in my head to remember what I had done. But yeah, and then I'm working on another version of my sweater with a different pattern. It's all leaves. You can see
Ooh, leaves.
leaves go across the back
Ooh.
and down the sleeves.
What?
And the lace.
Oh, it's a sweater.
Yeah, it's a cardigan. It's the same exact pattern as my other one. The only difference is the panel. Instead of doing the flowers, it's leaves. But
Okay.
everything else is the exact same. So they're both
Right.
going to be in the pattern. So you can basically interchange and pick whichever panel you want to use with the basic cardigan pattern. So yeah, so hopefully I will stop casting things on because my brain can't handle anymore right now. But my son's dealing with work issues in his first real big job, so that's been interesting. Finding out that yes, now that you have your degree doesn't mean you're going to get that raise you thought you were going to get, even though you have your degree now, even though they promised it to you, and now.
Yeah. It takes time.
Yeah, he's not
Kara,
surprised
what are
with
you
his
doing?
company.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done.
Corporations are.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nope. All good. I want to see what Kara's working on. It's either a hat or a shawl,
No.
probably.
I'm-
Ooh.
What is
I'm
it?
playing.
It's a shawl.
Ooh, I
It
like
is a
that.
shawl.
Ooh.
That's really pretty. I
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
doing-
contrast.
I'm doing something different. This was supposed to be the yarn I was going to use for Shark Week for the mosaic, but then when I heard that you had the frog it, I was like, I have literally cut the ends on this, so I can't frog it. Right?
Oh, you can. It's just not fun.
You can. It just
So
no,
No.
it's just heartbreaking. Yeah,
yeah,
No,
so I
which is
just
the point.
Sorry, Tomsky. Neil's sleeping. He drove 2 days in a row, and
Sleeping.
you know how it is.
yeah, so I'm just I just decided I would play with like various ideas and see what happens. So it's like this is my first like play phase. I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh, it's so exciting.
That's very cool.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You mean Anne told you about
It's very
Shark Week,
pretty.
but she didn't tell you about the frogging part?
Well, like I kind of understood the frogging part, but when I was thinking about using like the mosaic pattern at the end of it, it didn't really click until I learned how to do the mosaic. It was like, oh wait, I'm cutting this. Like, no, we're not doing.
Mhm.
We're not about that life.
No. Yeah, because then you'll end up with
Yeah.
a ton of little balls of yarn. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kind
No
of like
fun.
people who had to frog their certain shawl pattern from a certain well-known male designer because
Yeah.
that square was evidently offensive.
those darn squares. Those squares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mine's gone.
Squares. No squares. Annie, what are you
Annie,
working
what are
on?
you doing?
Well, I'm unpicking.
We know what you're not doing.
Yes, we do.
I'm not doing my shawl anymore. I'm unpicking a dance
No.
costume. But it's a bit
Ooh.
fiddly. And I'm working on Catching Breeze, it's called.
Ooh.
It's got a
Oh,
nice-
that's
so pretty. I love
your
that
work-
colorway.
I
like
love
the
the
sleeve.
blues and the mustards in that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with the
They're
with
really
it's gonna
pretty.
have
So you're
Downsizing
officially
it.
done with
Aw.
your
And
shawl?
the hairmet's going to have this. Yeah, did you see my shawl?
No, I wasn't here.
I have got it here.
I was sucked into the world of work, and I didn't know what socialization was.
Ugh.
Glad that
We
you
could have a
finished,
talk with
Elle.
Eric.
Good job. Muscle burr is on my list. I just haven't cast one on yet.
It was fun because part of what I was doing was I was taking care of the Soska sisters while they were in town. And they're not high maintenance, but they are high attention. And so what I mean by that is at one point, like they came in to sign all of the copies and stuff like that. And I was sitting in my office going through spreadsheets, and they were literally like, I don't even know if they coordinated or not, but like one would come into my office to ask for something or, get a thing. And then they would leave. And like 30 seconds later, the other one would come in and want something else. And like at one point that happened like 4 times in a row. And I was like, what are you doing?
They're twins.
Yes, they are.
They're tag
I
got-
teaming. Yes.
Probably then.
I got my Yaira the other day.
Yay. I want to see
Ooh.
the shelf. I've seen the Yaira. I'm sorry.
It was very nice.
This is the shawl.
It is amazing.
Oh,
It's so pretty,
It
Annie.
is so pretty. It's so big.
Oh.
And it's so pretty.
I would like run around with it with like my arms stretched out and like make like
Right?
yeah, like that's what I would.
Yes.
Yes.
Done a little bit of that. So
Look at it. It's
come
like
down
it's
to-
3
Oh.
times her size. Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah. But think of how warm it's going to be in winter. If you go walking on the beach in the winter, you'll
But
be
it's-
so
it's still
heavily warm
light.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's still light because
lightweight
it's
with the
mohair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and just like lovely and warm. Yeah.
That's the
That's so
largest amount
nice.
of mohair I've ever seen in one project.
In one place. Yeah.
Well, one of my friends
It's
made
beautiful.
it was quite a wide scarf. Thank you. And hers was all it was a Rowan pattern. It was on the cover of one of the Rowan books, and it was lots of different colours, and you joined in another colour. You used 2 colours together, and you joined another one while you were still using the old one to sort of fade it a little bit. And she used to wear that a lot, and it kind of reminds me of that a bit. I was a bit inspired by that, and the fact that Michelle was going to be very big, and I wasn't going back.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to frog mohair
No.
or Surrey.
That shawl is epic.
Mhm.
It's taken 4.5 months of
That's
my.
That's not bad
general
though,
knitting
really.
time. No, it's
That's
not
not
I
bad.
enjoyed it. I never got fed. I didn't get fed up of it at all.
I think because there's just enough variation that you do have to
Yeah.
pay attention. It's not like just totally mindless, so you don't get to the point where it's the same thing over and over. It changes,
Right.
Mhm.
so there's enough
Yeah, plus
variety.
the color changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, well, I kept diving into my stash to see what would be next because I got a few colours and then it was nowhere near enough. So I had to keep digging and delving, and I didn't buy any mohair. All the colours I had.
Nice.
Did you-
I just bought the other one.
did you determine how much it ended up taking?
I know that the dark claw bits are 230 grams of 4-ply because I've got 70 left. I bought 3 skeins, but I haven't weighed it yet, and some of my mohair is thicker than other parts, but I could give a good idea, I think.
We could just weigh the whole thing and then subtract out.
Yeah, I'm
200
gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a new scale because mine was not very accurate. I found out when I mailed stuff and came back because of postage. So I got a new scale that's supposed to be good down to 1 gram.
Oh,
So,
right. I'll
I
use
haven't
the
used it
kitchen
yet, though.
ones.
Mine was a kitchen one, but it was a very cheap one. So
Right. I've got
I
some
guess
little
you get-
dinky ones that I'll use to weigh like cakes or one ball or scraps. Got some really dinky scales.
well, hopefully this new one's better. It's supposed to be accurate because the other one was not.
I feel like my bathroom scale is the same way.
I agree. It's way too much.
It's way.
I think they make
You got me.
bathroom scales intentionally that way.
They're in cahoots with the whatever. The what do you call Slim Fast
Fridge.
and all those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Cheryl and BS, seeing us live.
Hey
Hello.
guys.
There was like a skit that Robin Williams did, like way back in the day, where he was talking about how the scale was communicating with the AI generated fridge, and so at one point when he would try and like open the fridge, it wouldn't open. It'd be like, I've been talking to the scale, and you've gained 3 pounds since yesterday.
God, he was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, he made some jokes where I was like, whoa, that's like a little too on the point. But it's like, it's also like he had the kind of humor where he was just like, I'm warning you, it's about to happen. And nobody listened to him. And now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, so many things are like that.
I'm
Wow.
missing him.
I was
Yeah.
watching old Saturday Night Live, and I mean like 70s and 80s Saturday Night
Mhm.
Live.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And I had forgotten how funny it actually used to be, because
Mm-hmm.
I watched all
Mhm.
the whole thing with when Buckwheat was shot. Ouch, I'm shot. And Buckwheat was
Yes.
murdered. And they did it like an actual news broadcast through the whole episode with Ted Koppel coming on, and they kept replaying the shooting, like, and it was like the Lee Harvey Oswald shooting, and with Jack Ruby when the man who shot Buckwheat was shot. I'd forgotten like how funny
It
they
was
were.
very
you know.
funny.
And then the Roseanne,
I mean-
my favorite was Rosanna Dana, who was my favorite,
Yes.
because
yes.
I lived in New Jersey at the time, and all the
Mhm.
don't you know King Tut's already dead. Don't make him go to New Jersey.
I have a friend of mine that we've been friends for years and years on Facebook and in different groups and whatever. And every like once a year, maybe twice a year, we will post on each other's Facebook the video of Steve Martin doing King Tut. Just because. Just out of the blue, we'll post it, you know. Yeah, that those were the days.
Well, I
don't think
remember
it's
when
been-
when it came out, because the exhibit was.
I
out
don't think
at
it's
the
been
Met,
funny since. Yeah.
And
Well, that was during the whole Wild and Crazy Guys thing and the whole, you know,
mhm.
back when, yeah, like you said, when it's funny. I don't think it's been funny since maybe Norm Macdaniel left, or, you know, it's been a
You know
while
what I
since
think?
it's been funny.
The thing that I think this was different is early on they weren't just comedians; they were also actors.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good actors, so
Mhm.
they had a depth to the performances that you don't get when it's just a stand-up comedian doing Saturday Night Live improv. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Jane Curtin and Gilda Radner, the chemistry between the two of them on the news desk every week was just like, you know, trying not to smack each other. And Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo and all of them, you know, they could act outside of it, so it gave a different level.
I hear Jane Curtin, and all I hear is, Jane, you ignorant slut.
But
Dan Aykroyd, yeah. Just
yeah,
so funny. But also, it was like how the way comedy is supposed to be, where everything is funny. You can make jokes about anything, and it's okay.
yeah.
There
It's
was
kind of the
yeah.
last bastion of free speech.
Yeah, there was one skit that I saw that actually floored me, and it was I don't know what particular demographic of Asian that she was. She was just Asian, because I know somebody's gonna be like asking me to pinpoint. I don't know. Okay, but she was like, I want to be so rich that I have maids that are white. And I was like, oh my god. 'Cause it killed me like so bad. And she's like, I want my melon
But that's
cut by a woman
funny.
named Kathy.
Funny.
It is. Yeah. But she was like, I want my melon
It's
to be cut by
funny,
a white
though.
woman who's blonde and named Kathy
Well,
and all this stuff.
Well, the when Eddie Murphy went back in 2019 and he was playing an elf at the North Pole and they had gotten attacked, and he was the witness. And on the news report, they're like, "What's your name?" "You don't need to know my name." And he's like, look at this white elf. She came to me, a black elf in sweatpants. Do you see how serious this is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
See, stuff used
But
to be like in
Funny.
living color used to do stuff that was, offensive. Now, whites, Hispanic, it didn't matter. Everybody was up for grabs.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
And that's how
Even
it should
even Mr. Rogers
be. Mr.
okayed that. He did. He okayed it because it wasn't directed towards children.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they weren't making money off it. Like, I guess
Mhm.
Burger King was trying to do a spoof off of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he sued him because they were making money off of it. But he thought Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood was hilarious
Mm.
because it wasn't directed
Oh,
at
yeah.
children. So, except most of people I know were children when we were watching it because we were all,
Right.
old.
Well, because we were all
On
feral
Saturday
back
night.
then, Yeah, we.
I don't think we've even got any comedy on the
we
telly
were
anymore.
pretty much
Yeah.
no.
Well, that and I watched
Is any on
interview
enough?
with
Not funny.
Betty White and Johnny Carson back in the 90s, and they had been in skits together for decades. And he was talking about how the Golden Girls had just come out, and he says, and I watch it every Saturday night. And she goes, how do you do that? He goes, no, I go home and I watch it Saturday night. She goes, I feel so bad for you. You have no social life. And then he was saying how he had hit on her one time, and he goes,
Johnny Carson
she
had
goes,
been
"Yes."
married 100 times. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what she goes. She goes, was it between Joanne or Joan or Joanne? His three wives were all named the same.
Right.
And he just had to stop because she just kept nailing him. But she was so sweet about how she did it. You just had to laugh. And she and Joan Rivers were going at each other, and it was hilarious because they were having so much fun.
Yeah, and Johnny appreciated. He didn't mind being the butt of a joke. He didn't care
No,
because he was
no.
funny and realized people were funny. I
Yeah.
don't know. We've lost.
I think
a
we
lot
need
of
more
that, I
humor in
think.
the world. I saw Jerry Seinfeld gave a college commencement talking about how
Mhm.
we have to
At
stop
Duke.
going after comedians.
Isn't that the
Okay.
one where they all walked out, or was that something else?
Yeah, this was something else.
Yeah.
I know the one they walked out.
Oh.
Like, okay,
It wasn't.
in 30
they
years'
didn't
time.
all walk out though. There was only a couple, but they
Yeah.
focused on the couple that walked out instead of
Yeah.
the ones that stayed. Which
Why did they walk out? Because
They were
read the
protesting
headline.
Palestine, and he's
Because he's
Jewish,
Jewish,
and he's pro-Israel. He was pro-Israel, he'd gone to Israel.
Jewish.
and to where some of the places where some of the shooting had
Mhm.
happened and where some of the people were killed, he had gone there. And college doesn't prepare you for people with different viewpoints, evidently, at least not
No,
anymore.
it does
No.
not.
Not
So,
anymore.
I saw several of them
Not
in some of the
anymore.
colleges who were not allowed to graduate because they violated
Mhm.
campus policy when they're protesting, and they're like, it's not fair, they're stifling our free speech. And I'm like, no, they're not. You violated policy. You could have your free speech and still not violate policy.
I mean, way
You
to
made
take a
fellow
terrible.
students
How
feel unsafe.
well done on taking a tragedy that's happening to other people and making it about
Making it all-
you. I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, and this one girl's crying. She goes, I have family flying in for graduation. Well, you should have thought about that before you broke into a building and attacked a janitor.
With rights come responsibilities.
Exactly.
Wait,
Did you see Philadelphia?
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
she busted into a building.
Mhm.
a
And they
public
occupied the
building?
body on campus. Yeah.
So was she an insurrectionist?
No, it's different when you're a cause for another that's not, different.
I said this with a group of my friends last time because one of them was just kind of like they're expressing their disapproval and blah 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 at these colleges, and I was like, you know what, that's cool. Like, I'm all about that. Go fucking do it, but do it at the right place. Do you think colleges have any effect on this? They don't. You need to go to your town hall. You need to go to your
Yeah.
senators.
Right, like that woman who was protesting at her city council, some little town in California, because they did not make a proclamation that they stood with Palestine. And I'm thinking, yes, I'm sure the fighting in Gaza is waiting for this little town in California to make a proclamation that they support them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, some town they've never heard of. That's going to change things. It's like the climate protesters who damage artwork. All that does is make people mad. It doesn't bring people to your cause. Like, you damage a Monet, that pisses me off. That doesn't make me want to go join you.
It makes me want to run the car an extra 10 minutes that I didn't need to do.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Exactly. Or go fly somewhere I don't have to, you know.
Well, not only that, so these people that are gluing themselves to the wall or to the what do they think that glue's made out of?
Shh.
Don't tell them. They don't know.
Did you see
It's
what happened in
Not made out
Philadelphia?
of plants and spit, okay?
How
Yes.
the protesters disrupted the Pride Parade. Can you imagine some of those people? Can you imagine some of those people are thinking, "Oh my God, which side should I be on?"
It was really hard to work out which side was which. They all looked as crazy as each other to me.
Well, you know, the Queers for Palestine, which always cracks me up, because if they lived in Palestine, they'd be dead. Because the people who are of different sexual genders or sexual preferences in that part of the country go to Israel because it's legal there. It's not legal in the Palestinian part. It's a death sentence, but it's completely legal in the Israeli side. And it's a sanctuary for people there. So all these, you know, gay people, and you can protest whatever you want. I don't care if you do. But when you say that you're for Palestine, they're not for you, though. You might be for them, but they're not for you. Like,
right.
This is
they would throw you off a building.
This is going to be one of those times where we look back in hindsight. I just know it.
Well, I think a lot of these kids who protested and ruined their graduation stuff are going to, years from now, are going to look back and think, you know, there were better ways to do. Like, I read an article by a guy who was talking about, he said, hey, I get protesting and wanting to change things, but the way to do that is not to protest your college campus. It's to get that education and go out there and do something that actually changes things.
Yeah, well, so like when I lived in Arizona and we did like that teacher, you know, teaching protest that we didn't hold a protest at our local school. We all just didn't go to work. Right. We all got on the tram and went down to City Hall and, you know, at the Capitol. And it was so funny because we were all like sitting in circles, having conversations. The music band was doing like a parade around the building, like everything. Right. And the only reason we got them to listen to us is because when we weren't at work, all the children had to be sent home. And if the children have to be sent home, guess who else goes home? Parents.
That's
parents are at home. Yeah. They're not working. So within a couple of days, we had the whole state like at a standstill. And what was really weird is that the director of education from my state, she sent out a memo saying, because you are not at work, these children are at home and being abused by their parents, and it's your fault. And we're like, oh, hold on now. Like, that. What are you talking about?
Whoa.
Yeah. She's like, it's your fault that they're not being taken care of because they're at the hands of their abusers. I was like, that's not how you fix that.
And that's not your job. You're not there to take care of the children. You're there to teach the children.
Yeah. And then at one point she was like, if you don't go back to work tomorrow. Yeah. And then she was like, if you don't go back to work tomorrow, I'm going to take away your teaching license. And we're all like, you made it invalid like last month when you said you didn't need one to teach. So go ahead, take it. We don't care.
That's one way to protest. And that's different. Like when I was in high school, my brother's senior year, the teachers wanted a new contract. Their way of protesting was not writing recommendation letters for the seniors when they were filling out their college applications. That was wrong because that hurt the kids.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to protest, if you're going to protest, take on the consequences of your protest. Don't put it on the kids who are trying to write in their college applications. And back then, you know, you had to get them in months ahead of time to get.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything was done by paper. It's not like you can do it digitally like you could now. And it was awful.
I have a sweet follow-up to this. So I resigned from teaching later that year because like as soon as everything got done and the dust cleared, like things just got worse, right? And so I was like, fuck it. I just resigned within not even I think first term, right? Like I just sent in the letter and be like, fall break come, I'm out. You're screwed. I can't help you. Well, yes, I forgot, but I'm still signed up for Glassdoor for my old school district, right? And so this morning I got a notice and it was somebody leaving a review for my old district, and it said, "You are disposable here." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
You don't say.
I was like, "Wow!" It's like good to know that things
That's
haven't gotten better.
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, I feel like that's the way to. The problem is these people now, these kids, and I'll call them kids, even though they're 20, whatever. If you're going to protest something, that's great, but make sure you know what you're protesting about. Because I saw a kid, and he's their age, reporter kind of guy, and he's going in and he's asking them all these questions like, okay, so you're
They have no
chanting
clue.
from the river to the sea. Which river and which sea? And they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about blah blah blah? I don't know. I mean, they have no answers. Out of like 20 kids, one kid will know what he's talking about.
Well, and the teachers shouldn't be participating. Like I saw this thing where
No.
this professor got suspended because she was telling the students to go protest. And also she was encouraging them to violate campus policy more than one way. And she's like, I'm a fighter for free speech. This is ridiculous. No. You were not doing your job. Your job says you as a professor cannot tell students not to follow school policy. So no, you were not doing your job. You don't deserve to stay.
Nope.
And the ones she was giving her students credit for not coming to class if they were protesting. And I'm sorry, if I had been a student who'd been working for my degree and it got screwed up because of these protests, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Because my teacher's off protesting instead of doing my final. And then the ones who do protest are begging not to take finals and whatever because it's too traumatic. Okay, so something that's going on the other part of the world. And there's always something going on the other part of the world. I mean, everywhere. There's always going to be something going on.
Thousands of years, there's been stuff going on in the other part of the world.
Only because it was on the news recently. You're like, oh man, I got to do something about it now.
Yep.
They weren't protesting for Ukraine, like they weren't tearing down campus stuff for Ukraine. Why not? If that's their reasoning, why is it different now?
I was watching all of those cameras live when the Ukraine thing was going down because I was like, I'm going to witness this. Like, I'm going to watch it happen. And that was because I know sometimes like things will happen and because it's so far away, like we have like a detachment to it. It's like, oh, wow, that sounds terrible. But like actually watching it occur, like I was watching one of so they had like cameras that were up in the area so you could actually see like the airstrikes happen when they did and things like that. And
that was what Desert Storm was like.
Yeah.
Right.
Watching Bernard King from CNN hiding underneath the desk during the bombings.
Who was the other guy? Another guy that was in country then. I can't remember who it was. That was. Yeah, it was a totally different thing back then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Teresa and I were in school when the space shuttle blew up. We didn't get any therapists or any, you don't have to go to class or you don't have to study or you don't have to take tests because of it. It was business as usual. We didn't get any.
I was already married and had a toddler, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. There was no.
We watched it live in school and there was no special treatment. 9/11 happened. Kids did not have to do their schoolwork. They didn't have to not do their college work because of it, unless you had a family member who died.
The next day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, mine was too little, but it just suddenly anything that happens anywhere, and these people can't handle things.
Yeah, I didn't go to school for a week after 9/11, but I was on a military base, and it went on lockdown, and I lived off base, so we couldn't go to school.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
That's military. It's it's always going to be a higher level.
They made us make it up at the end. I was so pissed.
Of course,
like snow days.
Yeah,
but it just all these. Oh well, don't worry. We're sending therapists, and you can't make us take finals because this is too traumatic for us. How are you going to exist in the real world if something that's happening on the other side of the world that you're not personally involved in is so traumatic that you can't function?
Yeah, that's the thing. Your personal involvement. Because I remember 9/11. My youngest daughter was. I don't know, 9th grade, 8th grade, whatever she was. And they didn't do anything for those kids. The only time they did anything when she was in high school, the quarterback killed himself, and they did bring in counselors.
But that's
for that.
affecting them personally,
That was
though.
something,
You know what I
right?
mean?
That was something that affected them personally. It was something that, you know, in one way or
Someone they knew.
another, everybody knew the kid. You know, it was bad.
That's different.
Yeah, not for, you know, we didn't have. No, you just dealt with stuff.
My husband worked at a place where when Trump got elected, they offered therapy services for the employees. And he texted
doing
me. He texted me about it. And I was like, "That's funny." He's like, "No, I'm absolutely serious." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
One of the girls my
Orange
son
man
went to
who's
school with
hurting you.
took 3 days off of school because she was so upset when Hillary lost it.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
wow. He thought it was hilarious. He's just like, you're going to take 3 days off of school, do it for a really good reason, but don't do it for that. Like, you're so
Yeah,
traumatized.
like when Prince died, or, you know,
Well, that's different.
you know, January 21st of 2021 or something like that. Yeah. But
yeah, when 9/11 happened, I was working in the gallery, and my boss at the time was tone deaf. And she's like, don't talk about it. If people come in, don't mention it. Don't talk about it. We don't want them focusing on it. We want them to have a peaceful time in the gallery. I'm like, you do not think that people are not going to be talking about this? This is everything that everyone's talking about all the time. So you want us to pretend this tragedy did not happen and try to sell these people art when they want to talk about it? Like, are you nuts? It's like, that's tone deaf. If people, you know, and we got a lot of tourists in from the East Coast and a lot of them from New York at that time, and they couldn't get home because the flights were canceled.
Right.
And we're just not supposed to talk about the elephant in the room now. And especially because the hijackers had been through our mall the week beforehand. They had them on camera in the building that I worked in shopping. And we're just supposed to pretend, hey, but it's okay, you know. You're on vacation. Just ignore this tragedy that's happened on the,
what an awful time. Yeah.
It was huge here. It was absolutely huge here. I dropped one of my children off at nursery. I remember coming back, and my husband was watching the news, and I walked in, and it was like kept showing replays all the time. I think it was the first time that really we watched kind of a 24 news channel, you know, that's on all the time.
Yeah.
Don't really watch them here. But
it was,
had it
but
on
it
all
just,
afternoon.
but you know, students were expected to still function.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And that was our actual country being attacked, not something.
Well, there was a lot of David's best friend, the one who flew out to see him for the day when he was in the hospital. He's Indian. And I remember there was a lot of people that were very, very unkind to him. He's not Pakistani or whatever they were. Okay. He's Indian, and he's lived in this country his entire life. And he's, you know, he's a car salesman and whatever, you know, like, but people were,
it was bad.
Such a reactionary thing that people were,
The mall where I worked at the time was the Aladdin before it became Planet Hollywood. And they had roaming groups of acrobats, Arabic acrobats and singers and belly dancers who were wander and perform through the mall. And they were getting death threats afterwards. So they had to stop those performances to protect the performers because people were crazy.
Oh yeah, AJ, yeah. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? This guy wouldn't hurt a fly. I mean, he's got issues, but he wouldn't hurt a fly. But people just are reactionary about everything. No matter which side you're on, whichever. People are reactionary.
Yeah, some of them just are looking for an excuse to do violence as well.
Yeah, that they can get away with.
Yeah.
So Annie, you got any more giant shawls planned?
No.
I'm sure Neil will design one inadvertently.
Someone shared one, didn't they? And it had like a star stitch on. I really like that, but it wasn't a giant one.
I have his pattern for the crochet Tunisian one, or Tunisian. Sorry. Let's get the CH in there. Tunisian.
Oh, it's Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah. But I
You gotta
haven't
put your
cast it on
pinky,
yet.
your pinky up when you say it. Tunisian.
Tunisian.
Yeah. But I haven't cast that on because I don't know what yarn I'm going to use for it yet.
It's not easy.
And
It's Tunisian.
I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at Tunisian yet.
I have to remember how to
Not
cast
good
it
enough.
on, and I haven't done it so long, so I don't know. I have to go watch a video before I
I'd
remember
have
how
to
to
go
do
back.
it. So,
I know Neil keeps asking if I'm gonna try it. I think he's trying to gateway me into knitting.
it's
Ooh.
crochet though.
That's like, but
it
it's like
looks like-
knitting crochet. So it's like a step
Yeah, but
towards
Yeah,
knitting.
it's a
It's still
hybrid. Yeah,
it is a hybrid, but it's still
still
crochet.
crochet.
It still uses twice as much yarn, and
It's
it's
trying to take
thicker
me-
and heavier.
Which is
Trying
good.
to take me to
good
the
though,
dark
isn't it?
side.
That's how you get through your stash.
It
Yes.
is. That's a good way.
I may or may
Knit
not have
blankets
bought
with
more.
Three joined together. Make shawls giant.
True. Make blankets.
I've got so much stash.
Me too. I have some coming from Holly from Mystery Mouse of her Sunken Treasure
Oh.
colorway.
I don't have any yarn ever.
I got one that
Other
was
than your giant stash.
I know, but I want more. I want new.
Well,
I want new.
I know.
Not more.
That'd be-
I want
that'd be
new.
fresh.
What would
fresh
you want
and
though? More
new.
DK or more random fingering skeins?
Not
Like-
fingering. No, I don't want fingering because I'm still in crochet mode. So I don't, I started crocheting stuff in fingering weight just because I was bored. I want size 4 because that's what crocheters say. 4 weight. 4
Worsted.
weight. Yes, 4 weight. Because I want to crochet all the things, but I don't, I just want new yarn. Let's face it.
It's okay. I understand. I totally bought yarn at the start of this podcast today.
Did you? What did you buy?
I bought
Enable.
it's kind of like it's a Halloween kind of like black to gray granite color thing. And I was like, hey, I can pretend like I'm planning ahead and buy Halloween yarn for later. Like this totally makes sense. I'm just ahead of the curve. That's why I'm spending this money. So but I
Wait,
think I'll
black
find
and
a-
gray?
Yeah, it's kind of like it like a gray beige color. So it kind of like it's almost like it's a bones on soil kind of look. Because every Halloween I
Ooh.
usually dress up with some kind of like skull makeup thing. I mean, if you guys couldn't tell, I really like skulls. I like them so much I grew my own.
You should look up
Well, you
Sixel
are your own
Designs.
too, but whatever.
Actually, let me find it. Because it would be your ultimate blanket.
Oh, yeah, I want to see. One of my friends is into taxidermy, and she sent me a message. She's like, "Do you want to see the inside of a calf skull?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, why would I not?
That's what my husband used to do. He used to be a taxidermist.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't think we've got any knocking about that I can just get hold of right now. I kind of, I don't know where they are.
Yeah, one of my
Cat-
friends when I was in
cat- drive
Ariz-
past a dead owl.
Oh no.
There's a dead owl on the road that looks fresh. He has to stop and pick it
Okay,
up.
you ready?
Oh.
Prepare
Yeah.
yourself.
The freezer.
I got
Prepare
instantly
yourself for this.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I'm ready.
Brace yourselves.
It's all black and white
What am I looking
mosaic
at?
crochet. It's skulls.
Is it a blanket?
The whole thing.
Be big. Make yourself big.
Okay.
Make yourself big.
Oh.
Big. There you go. Oh, okay.
I should just buy more yarn. I should buy a bunch of
Oh,
white
Yes, you
and black
should.
yarn.
Skulls? I
Yes,
couldn't
you
see the
should.
skulls at
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I'm-
should.
Yeah,
Look at what
it's all skulls. Yeah,
I'm an enabler.
Don't mind me.
I'll send
There's a
you
nice,
a link in the chat. I'll put the name of it in the chat.
Okay.
There's like a feel lace crochet shawl that's got skulls in it. On that
Yes, I've
side.
seen that. Yes. Yeah.
She has some other smaller patterns
pretty.
with skulls, but she
Mhm.
has a very Halloween aesthetic. She just put out a mosaic crochet book recently.
No.
But yeah, I love the skull blanket. It's huge and it's all black and white, just the two colors.
No.
A friend of mine from the bunker, I don't know if you'll know what this is. There's a person who does cross stitch designs, like the big, like one color. They're giant and they're just crazy. She did one called Pandemic, and it's cross stitch, and it would be so much work to do it in cross stitch. And this girl is doing it knitting. She's going to knit this entire one color or two. Well, it's one color. I'd have to find.
That's a shawl pattern.
Oh,
I'll put that one.
They're good, aren't they?
Oh, it's
Yes. Yes, Lori, Long Dog Samplers. She does these. I mean, they're big. There's a lot of stuff on them. But this girl's going to knit all of it instead of cross stitch. Yes. Caro's got a new project.
There, I put that one in chat too. And
Mhm.
it's just the same thing repeated
Lost
same
Skull
motif, just-
shawl pattern.
as it goes out.
And
I
it's
know what
super
yarn.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do too,
it's not
yeah.
it's not a free pattern. There are similar ones that are free patterns, but this one is more of a solid, like where you see more
Yeah,
just
there's
skulls.
ones
And,
that are a little more lacy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's
The
this other one is.
They're nice too, though. They're nice.
They are, but they don't have as much definition in the skull. I can't believe I just said that, but okay. Hey, it's
I
only
think they're
100
all
degrees.
like double crochet too, so it's not like it's going to be.
Okay, I found the
That-
yarn I want to use.
What?
We did. We've created a
We
crochet
are
monster here.
enablers.
Hey, if
What
we're not
color?
buying it ourselves,
Black?
we can enjoy someone else buying it.
I'm gonna use. So I want to do. I know it's gonna surprise you. I want to do the shawl, right? But I don't want just like I want like a giant blanket like my last one. So again, we're gonna do like that thing where it's kind of like, what are you working on? It's like it's the same shawl as the last 2 months. It's great.
You sound like
Keep going.
Annie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well, yeah,
Annie's
you just
doll.
keep the shawl. You just keep making it bigger and bigger until you got it as giant as you want.
Mhm. I don't have a problem. This is totally fine.
What color is the yarn, Caro?
It's white. I'll show
White.
you.
Ooh.
Well, because the shawl was white, and so I don't know. This is like a side deviation, but like normally when I go out to events and stuff like that, I actually kind of have like a semi-gothic look, right? So like, not that I
Yeah.
want to get too deep into it, but like work has this meetup on Saturday. I've already got my dress and my thigh-high boots all set up, and I'm gonna get my makeup done and all this other stuff, right? And I'm like sitting here because I'm like, this shawl would have been perfect to have for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it for the next meetup. So that way, when I show up, I'll be ready. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
In
my
white.
daughter
That's
has
good
some
too. Yeah.
has some fun thigh-high boots from Demonia Cult. They look like Gene Simmons boots. They're the big
Oh,
with the buckles all the
Lord.
way down and the big platform. She adores them. She got a shorter pair this past year. My son hates them. Like he hates every time she wears them. I think because it makes her taller than him. But
Ooh.
she's already tall, so when she wears them at a family function, she like towers over all the other women, and she enjoys that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I put the yarn I'm going to get in the private chat. but it's kind of like a semi-bulky yarn, so it's like it's gonna be like a big shawl.
Ooh, okay.
I want to walk and have this thing draped
bulky.
behind me. Okay, it's gonna be great.
That'll be like Annie's.
Yes.
Just not as
You have to
cool.
be so
Annie's is way too cool.
dramatic. Yes.
Treese needs some purple yarn because that's her favorite.
It is.
I do have some black yarn in here, so maybe I could do a couple rows. No, I'm gonna control myself. I'm gonna focus on this one.
No,
right now.
go with the white. Yeah, go with the white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, focus on that. Yes. Yes. One thing at a time.
I'm fine.
I'm not doing anything right now. I'm in limbo. Ugh,
Yeah,
I
it's
hate
too
it.
hot right now. Even though I have the air conditioning on,
Yeah.
it's warm in this room.
I did finish one of my charity hats yesterday. So like every week I
Nice.
make one hat to donate to charity. I picked up this yarn from like the garage sale event that we had out here, and the lady was like, "Yeah, I've got some yarn if you want it." I was like, "Yeah, that's like, why is that a question? Like, I'll take all of it,
Well,
right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gave me this bright blue yarn, and I was like sitting there, and I was like, I am such a yarn snob because I've used like this custom made stuff like so much that when I like work with like club yarn, I'm like, this is not good against my fingers, like, ugh. But I made it.
I
Yeah.
know. But you know what? The washable stuff is good for babies. Like when we do stuff for Let Them Live
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it's good for charity stuff or blankets for people in nursing homes or whatever.
Yeah,
Just suck it up and do it.
I
Not you,
did.
just saying
Oh.
people in general.
Okay.
Not telling you to suck it up.
Okay.
I've got some really heinous acrylic, and I'm just gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll
I
just
have-
make baskets out of it.
I have one that's like it's like my first experience with actual cotton, right? And I am fighting with this yarn like every step of the way. I'm like just do what I want you to, and it's like, no, I will be stiff and unyielding in your hands.
Yes,
Yeah, cotton is one of those.
it could go
It's
either
not-
way. Yes,
Yeah, it's not the most comfortable to knit with for sure.
No.
Crocheting isn't as bad, but
but some of it, like I've done some cotton stuff lately, and it was actually really nice.
Oh.
That
It-
sugar wheel from Hobby Lobby cotton.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't
it's
tried that
so
one yet.
nice. It is
Like, let me
so
go find the
nice.
one that I'm working with. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that sugar
I got
wheel.
some-
I made a shawl.
I got some Bernat, but I haven't used it yet.
I don't know. Bernat is weird because don't they do the what's that? Bernat super soft? No. What's it called? Bernat
Softy.
something softy or soft something or whatever.
Yeah, that's what this is, the Softy baby.
No,
It's
this was the
weird.
one above, just above that, like another weight above that. Bernat, super soft or silky soft or something. I don't know. I made a cardigan out of it, and it turned into this ginormous tent because it just stretched so much. I can't
Well,
remember.
I have some of the baby cotton to make a baby blanket out of.
So
I have some of
this-
that. It's weird. Oh,
I have
what's this?
I have
Ooh.
this. And I'm making, this is a shawl I'm making for the artist of a comic that I'm doing. She finished doing all of issue 1 last week, so I was super excited. And she really likes red. So I've been trying to do, I know you
Good
can't see the
red.
yeah. So
That's
but
pretty.
it's like I can't, it's unyielding. It's like, do you want me to do something? Fuck you. And I'm like, no. stop
Sometimes
it."
you have to go up hook sizes with cotton
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it makes
That's-
it easier to maneuver.
Yeah, that's what I did. So I got
Yeah,
like a
because
6
you don't have that.
millimeter.
Yeah, where you can't get the end into the stitch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I should probably work on this. No, I'm gonna
No.
do the one with the new yarn. Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm glad I enabled you to
Joe
find you a
Bob!
shawl pattern
Joe
that you
Bob,
love.
Joe Bob.
Joe Bob, we miss you and love you.
Is in chat. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, go after Pirate. Yeah, go after him, Joe Bob. He
A
asked about
road
Neil
trip.
and not you.
She's having a potty break on a road trip. What?
Oh, she's probably taking one of her kids somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah.
We miss you, Joe Bob,
Yeah.
and we need to see you because it's almost our 1 year anniversary.
Right?
Can you believe
It's
it? A whole year of
Just
this.
throw me money. Yes. Oh, Joe Bob. I
Yeah.
miss watching her eat junk food in the morning from her mobile office.
As her breakfast.
Yeah.
I miss
junk
when she was
food.
drinking those vodka cans.
Right. That was fun. It's like we're rubbing off on her. Yes.
Yeah, Joe, you need to come on and tell us if you say Tuesday with a CH, like
Yes.
like the
How
British
do you-
people,
Tuesday.
or Tunisian.
Tunisian.
That's right. Neil says it different.
He does.
Tunisian.
Yeah, it's a weird
Not
emphasis.
E.
I was watching something. What was I watching? Oh, I was watching Normal World. We were talking about comedy earlier. And Dave Landau is one of the funniest people. If you don't know who he is, go look up Dave Landau.
Okay, good to know. Sorry to
he-
interrupt them.
Never.
T like tuba. Okay.
Tuba. Yes. Tunisian. Yeah. I forgot what I was saying.
You
Dave
were watching
Landau.
New World or
New
or
World.
Normal World.
Normal
Yeah.
World, and a guy. Oh, so there was a guy. There was a guest, and he's also a comedian, and he pronounced it aluminium, and I was like, wait, what? That's Neil's World. That's what he says. Aluminium, and the guy's from Canada. Like, what's that
Well,
about?
Oh,
Well,
they
'cause,
still have British pronunciation
Yeah.
up in Canada because when I used to work for a Canadian company and I would send in emails and it would have words like color or whatever,
With the
somebody
U,
would get
yeah.
and somebody got snarky and said you spelled it wrong, and I was like, I spelled it how we spell it down here, and I'm not adapting for you, so
No.
get over it.
But aluminium, like that extra letter is not even in there. We've had this.
That's how I
discussion on
pronounce
here.
it now. It annoys my son because I pronounce
Well,
it
you
that
have
way
to.
intentionally, and
Yeah, you
it
have
annoys
to.
him. He's like, "Mom, that's not right." He also gets mad when people mess up my last name on the
Oh,
podcast. Like Amy and
over it.
Tappa have been calling me Clothier since the beginning, and I'm fine.
We
It's
all
my
do.
Cajun.
We all do.
It's my
Yeah.
Cajun identity now. And he's like, but that's not how you pronounce it. I'm like, so?
One of my friends gives me a hard time because when I say herbs, I actually say the H in there, right? And he's like, it's not herbs, it's herbs. And I was like, there's a fucking H in the front. Pronounce it like a regular human being.
So, sure, everybody aware, Shark Week will be, I think, the first week in July. So if you're getting your projects, I think so. Whatever Discovery's doing.
I'm going to be in Denver from the 4th to the 7th.
Well, then you might want to make a hat your project so it's something.
Can you knit
if you don't
while you're
finish?
there?
No,
for sure.
I'm going to be a booth babe, so I won't have a lot of time to sit and actually craft. So yeah, I think a hat sounds like a really sound idea there.
I don't know what I'm making yet.
I have yarn from Holly coming. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet because it's just so pretty. So I have to. Garrow, knit. Joe's with you. She says the H. So,
Yeah, I'd say H. Herbs.
I do like the corner to corner blankets. They go by so fast.
So,
I'm kind of bummed out.
I know. I'm tired this week.
I really wanted to
Annie-
make a poncho, but I won't be able to make a poncho.
I want a poncho.
I
I want to find a poncho. I think it can be done. where you just create 2 triangle shawls and then seam them together.
You can. I saw one person do it that way.
Yeah, I want to
Mhm.
do it like that. Just make
Okay,
2 whatever
7
triangle shawls and then just seam them at the shoulders. July
Um,
7th.
7th through the 14th.
Yes.
If it's the 7th through the 14th, I can still do it. Okay.
Okay.
Yay.
That's it was there.
I got so excited.
Hey, I have a question. You people who do DK weight socks, for the people who do socks 64 stitches, how many do you do for DK?
I don't do DK. I bet you know who you should ask? Denise.
Yeah.
Amy's sister, because
When
she
I
does
was
a lot of
watching
DK
them
weight
today.
socks.
Yeah.
Elle says 48.
40. That's what I thought. But I wanted to make sure because I have the Chicken Lady blood splatter. And so I was thinking about making that for Shark Week.
Yeah, you could do 2 socks in a week. Easy DK.
I'm going to do shorties.
Yeah, but I mean, you can definitely do that in a week.
54. Oh, see, now I'm going to have to.
What's the pattern Denise always mentions that she uses?
I don't know. I've done a pair of shorty socks. I did a pair for Amanda. She was visiting one year, and I did those in a week on fingering weight.
Amy,
So I'm
if
pretty
you're there,
sure I can.
Amy, if you're there, can you find out from Denise what pattern she uses?
Amy, can you hear me? 54. I'm cutting heel toe with, yeah. Oh, US 2.5. Because the patterns I've seen call for a 3 or a 4. I'm just trying to figure. I'm going to do them toe up, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, good to know. Okay. Thank you.
That might be the one that Denise uses as the crazy sock.
That might be it,
I know
yeah.
she does a lot of her stuff. So
Because I think I can do a pair of DK socks in a week for Shark Week. I think so. And if not, nope, suck it up.
Oh.
It'll be fun.
Speaking of Shark Week, let me pull it up.
Yes.
The lovely Susan from Delightful Works has a new shark bag. Here.
Oh,
Isn't it
okay.
adorable?
Good to know.
28. Her bags are really nice. They're double
Oh.
lined and thick. They're very, very well made, and she does great work. So if anybody's looking for a shark bag, check her out on Etsy. Okay. BS says the 3 or 4 ends up getting too loose by the end of the day.
See, I thought about that. Yeah. Because you're going to want negative E's.
Yeah. I've never knit DK socks.
I haven't either. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I haven't knit socks in a while because we don't usually wear them much, but I think my son's girlfriend would. So I might make some for her because she's very knit worthy. But I wear flip-flops year round or sandals, so I don't really wear socks unless I have to go walking.
2.75. Okay, I'll write that down. 2.75. I'll look. I'll see.
I wear boots all the time. I very rarely wear sandals. I get cold toes. It's got to be tropical for me to wear a pair of sandals.
Well, we're not tropical, but it's going to be
So
111 on Thursday. So
Oh, yeah. It's a
started
dry
wearing-
heat.
I started wearing
Sure,
like
it's-
barefoot shoes. So they're
Yeah.
like the super flat ones that are supposed
Yeah.
to be good for your feet. And I've been really paranoid about like my foot health lately. So, because I'm trying to think, it's not my knees, but it's definitely been like my hips. And one of the things I found out is that all my running shoes have like this like incline in the back, which they say is supposed to be cushion for your running, but like because it makes me so forward, like toe walking that way, it's like putting pressure up to my knees and then my hips. So I started doing the barefoot running shoes thing, and like immediately, like I think once I got used to running barefoot shoes, like it just stopped.
Wow.
Love you, Joe. Drive safe. We'll
Thanks,
talk.
Joe.
We'll figure it out.
Safe. Drive safe. Be careful.
Bye.
Watch out for the ruse.
I get the shoes that have the orthotics built in because I have bad knee and bad back, and those help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried the barefoot ones though.
No, I haven't.
So.
I don't think it's for everybody because it really depends on like what your body needs are, right?
Not a lot of cushioning in them, is there? There's no cushioning.
No, there's no cushion at all, and that's kind of like the philosophy behind it because
Yeah.
because they say that for the longest time we didn't have like that cushion in the shoes, and the whole reason that we have pointy shoes and the extra heel in the back had to do with the Victorian times because in order to ride your horse and get your feet in the stirrups, they would have pointy shoes.
Yes.
And then men used to have heels in the back because they wanted to be taller, and then women kind of like moved into that and just started making the heel higher and higher kind of thing. So we essentially like made shoes so that way we could look like we had money, right? But in doing that, basically we took our feet that were supposed to be spread out like this and we squished them all together, right? So the barefoot shoes, normally the thing that kind of sets it apart is that the toe is actually wider so your feet can spread like that and not cram them all together. And then the other hallmark is the fact that there's not so much cushion in the back because it's trying to make sure that you're not, again, walking like you're just constantly on like some elevated surface. So.
Yeah, it's just running, isn't it? The added pressure of running.
Yeah, you got to be careful. My husband's cousin has worn heels for decades to the point she cannot wear anything but heels because it hurt because the muscles in her legs have shortened, so she can't wear
The
flat
tendons.
shoes at all. Like she was on a boat somewhere on vacation and was having to wear heels on the boat because she couldn't wear the flat shoes because it hurt so bad. I was like, well, I never wore heels that much to ever have that problem because I took them off
I didn't either.
every chance I got. So
yeah, because I call it runner's heel. It's like plantar fasciitis. That's the science term for it. Yeah,
I've had surgery for that.
Yeah, and so I'm not really big on like having to take drugs all the time for my chronic pain. So if I can avoid it, I try to. And one of the things that I found when I was trying to figure out like ways around medication is that they say part of why you end up getting like runner's heel is because your calf muscles contracted constantly. And if you don't give it the ability to like loosen out, then it will basically always pull at your heel. So I thought that, so that was why I started looking at the barefoot thing as well, because I thought was like, okay, well, if my heel's not going to be always elevated, then that might help stretch my calf out just a little bit. So I'm not going to say that that was like the big help in resolving that because I also use like compression socks and stuff like that. But it definitely, I feel like that played some kind of part.
You can it's a foot thing that you could sleep in that I had to wear after I had surgery, but you can, and it holds your foot at that angle with your heel down so that it keeps your calf steady. So it keeps, because basically it's a pinched nerve inside the shaft. And so it keeps the opening open so that the nerve doesn't pinch. It's the same thing as carpal tunnel syndrome in your hand. It's the nerve gets pinched in here. And so if you wear a brace where your hand's back, and if I had to force myself to sleep with my hands open, because I've had surgery a couple times years ago for carpal tunnel, and that is like 90%. If you start having the pain, wear the brace at night and train yourself to sleep with your hands open and not like clenched up, because that was part of the problem, because the nerve stays pinched. The nerve stays pinched and it gets permanent. But
I had my
tech is so much better now about these things than it used to be.
Yeah, because when originally, like, because I have CTS as well on occasion. I mean, I'm a writer. It's weird, right? All that rapid typing constantly all day. And what was funny is that the doctor was like, okay, well, we can do surgery, but you won't be able to type for 6 weeks. And I was like, so, like, I still have to work. That involves typing. It's like, oh, you better find a work around that. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing surgery.
Yeah. My first surgery took like 6 weeks to heal. But by the time I had the second one, it was just a little orthoscopic.
Mm-hmm.
And within a week, you're doing back to normal stuff
Mm-hmm.
because it was years later. But yeah, my first surgeon was not very good, and he left a lot of scar tissue that wasn't supposed to be there. But when mine bothers me, I'll just put on the brace for a couple nights, and then usually within 2 or 3 days, it's gone. But my doctor did tell me crochet was actually good for it because it keeps your wrist moving and it keeps that nerve from pinching.
Yeah.
And it's good for arthritis too.
We like this answer.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, see, it's healthy.
It's therapeutic, and all insurances should cover your cost of yarn.
I
Yeah.
agree.
There's a book. It's written by Jay McGonigal, and it's called Super Better, and it's talking about gamifying your life in order to like have a healthier life experience. And I'm not going to dive too deep into her methodology in that, but she did have a section where she talked about how if you can't play a video game to help kind of shut your brain down at the end of the day, and I'm talking like Tetris or Angry Birds, so like nothing too overly complicated. She said you could do knitting or crochet, and I was like, tell me more about this thing that I can do. Like, you got me now.
She sounds like
Yep.
a very intelligent person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, video game is very good for getting your brain out of your head. Like my kids are very bad about getting lost in their head, and that's when their anxiety. And for my son, he got bullied a lot in school and had problems. So video games were his way to get the anger out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'd go kill something online, blow something up, shoot something, and then he's fine because he's gotten it out of his system, and he had to focus and have the skills and be patient and whatever to do that. So he got his head out of whatever was actually bothering him. And then, he'd play the video game, and then the stress was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't addicted to it like some people I've known who were totally addicted to video games, but he was very lucky that when he was in high school, he met a group online that were mainly older, settled guys who were very good mentors for him. One of them is a priest in Pittsburgh, the synagogue that got shot up, the church that was next door that took them in and helped them. His friend was the pastor.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so
Nice.
he's very good at therapy, and
Pittsburgh.
all these guys were so good with my son, telling him how to get through, because they were all older, so they'd already been through teenage angst and all that, and so they were really good at giving him coping mechanisms that they learned going through it. So
there was it's so funny because this didn't happen recently. This was like a couple years back. But when I was more active on Facebook, I'm not now, but at one point I got a random friend request. It was like, hey, I hate to ask you this, but were you, avatar name and wow? And I was like, I was like, what do you want? Right. And it was a guy who, when he was in 8th grade, he was like in our guild in the video game. And I remember this conversation because he wanted to come in and raid, but my husband found out that he hadn't done his homework. So he said he couldn't join the raid until he sent a picture of his finished homework, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so he said that was like a really big memorable moment for him. And he was hoping that I could put him in contact with, the guild leader. And he's like, and I don't know if you know where he is or anything like that. And, anything that you could do to help me find him, that would be great. I was like, well, I'm married to him, so let me just give you his phone number.
Yeah, these guys were good about that too. Like if he was procrastinating writing a paper or whatever, they'd be like, "Nope, we're not playing.
Right.
We'll play Sunday night when you're done doing your paper."
Mm-hmm.
And they probably, they're all married, whatever. They could play anytime on there, but they would wait for the games that he played for him to make sure he got his work done. And people don't realize there's so many mentors out there for young people in unexpected places.
Yes.
Oh, Sherry likes our insurance idea. It'll never happen though.
No.
Because my husband would say, well, then, he should get insurance coverage for video games to pay for all the games and upgrading his computer.
I love video games. I have since, I mean, I'm Gen X. Okay, we were the OG video game players. I love video games, but I don't play them very often because I know how I am. I will play all day to the exclusion of everything else. So I just can't, you know.
My brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, was that way. He got addicted, and to the point where he was borrowing money from family members to pay for things
I wouldn't do
inside of
that,
games,
but I would just
and not
play.
paying his mortgage.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I
no,
just
I didn't.
would
I never
just
got
play
into
all
them.
day. Yeah.
I never got into them because they cut into my crochet time. So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I like Bejeweled and things like that.
I still play Stardew Valley on occasion. I got the doctor. Okay, I married the doctor. My life is good. But I still have to make my farm perfect so that way Grandpa can light 4 candles for me, which I know to like anybody else that's normal, that means absolutely nothing. But to me, it's like, it's amazing.
my daughter's thing is,
Yeah. I
You know,
love video
it-
games, but maybe I need
It
to
is-
set alarms or something. So I play it for a little while and then, like you do for toddlers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
well, my son and I were talking about this the other day because he used to play all the time. That was his
Mhm.
outlet. And I told him the other day, I said, because he doesn't play hardly anymore because there's no new games out that he's interested in, and he's played
Mhm.
through everything that's out there. And I said, what you're not realizing is you don't need him like you did. I said, you're settled, you've graduated, you're in your job, you've got your girlfriend, you've moved out, you've got, money, you've got money in the bank. You don't have the stress that you did, that you needed to play video games every day. Now it's not a compulsion because you don't need that outlet. You've got other outlets. You go to the gym, you hang out with your roommates.
Right.
Sweet
It's not
gym
your,
time.
it's
Yeah.
not your therapy anymore. My daughter's therapy is watching and critiquing anime with her friend
Okay.
that she met at an anime convention.
That's cool.
Every
though.
week for like the last 4 years, every week they get together once or twice a week online and they watch different, and then after each season they pick which ones they're going to watch the next season, and they compare and contrast.
I do
That's
that with
cool.
my Japanese friend because every Friday he and I meet up online to watch anime. And like, let me tell you something. Watching anime with a Japanese person in English is the most amazing thing ever because it'll be like, stop it now. I have to explain why this is wrong. And I'm like, oh. Because there's always like little nuances that the localizers don't really quite know how to
Right.
like translate to make it like there. So they'll just kind of like fudge through it because it's not meaningful to
Yeah.
like Western audiences. And he's like, no, this was a very important moment and I have to tell you why. I'm like, okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
My
But
ex-husband was half Japanese. I get it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I do the same with books though, because he and I will read a
Yeah.
book at some
Oh.
point, and he'll be kind of like, "Yeah, I thought this was a really amazing moment." I was like, "No, shit, it was complete garbage."
Yep.
Yeah,
I do that
that's
too.
what-
Yeah.
we do that. We'll read all the same book, my family, and then we'll talk about it or watch the same series
Yeah.
and do that. But she took 4 years of Japanese, so she can
Mhm.
speak
Yeah.
it more than she can write it, but she can still read it. And
Hmm. It's
her
just
friend
3
knows some
dialects.
yeah, it's just 3 alphabets,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And she met him at an anime convention. He had asked
Mhm.
her out thinking that she was much older than she was, and when he found out she was 6 years younger and not 21 yet, he's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
they went out for dinner once and then decided, you know what, they'd much rather be friends, and so now twice a week they watch anime
That's nice.
together.
Cool.
And
Yeah. As long as it's, it's funny. My township and the town next to it, very small. They have music in the park during the summer. So the town will have from now until, I don't know, July 4th or somewhere. And then they switch it over to here. And so I'm looking through and I'm like, which ones do we want to go to? And there's one that's Infinity and Beyond or something. And it's all the music of Journey. And my first thought is, yes, I love Journey. I want it. And then I'm like, no, because I'm going to be bitching the entire time.
because it's not Steve
I will
Perry.
be right. It's not Steve Perry. So I'm going to be miserable for 3 hours, while they're doing their little karaoke thing. Okay. But
Mhm.
you have to, like, that's like with the anime or with the video games, you know, like how much can you let progressiveness go? You know what I mean? Like you want to stay true to the original. And so I'm not flexible enough to with the new
I'm
stuff.
I'm like that with movie adaptations for books. Like when
mhm.
my husband really likes the Harry Potter movies, right? I don't.
Mhm.
I
Oh.
don't at all. And I think I told him like it was either the fifth or it was the fifth one. I was like, I'm not watching these with you anymore. Like these are so atrociously done. I don't care if J.K. Rowling was part of the decision making. It's trash, and I can't stand it.
Mm.
And you know, he tried to talk me into going to
Not
the
this
rest
time.
of them, and I was like, no, babe, I can't.
I have that with Stephen King books.
The only Stephen King adaptation that I
Very
saw
good.
that was good was Green Mile. That was it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the only one.
Because it pretty much stayed with, you know.
I thought that Dolores Claiborne was good though.
Yeah, it was. The reason
that
the
was
Green
so
Mile
weird.
Well, the reason the Green Mile one ended up working out was because he was originally writing it as a magazine anthology, so he had
Right.
room to like babble about random shit that didn't
His
make it into the movie.
anthologies and short stories are better than his novels.
Yeah.
At least for adapting them to. And listen, I was one of the biggest Stephen King fans of all time. And then he went off the rails. And I don't know, maybe it was when he got sober. Because he was
I think it was his
amazing.
accident. I think it was after
Well,
he had his
he
crash.
had the accident and then he got sober and his stuff went to shit. And then he turned into a total wackaloon.
Well, he retired, so then the publisher editor wasn't coming in and asking him to make changes anymore. He was just doing whatever he wanted, and that's when I noticed like
That's what he does now. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like originally I was kind of like, oh, you know, he's exploring some shit that's happened to his psyche, and then like he retired. I was like just gone. I was like,
Yeah,
can't read
he
it.
lost it.
Yeah.
He just lost it. But I have I have this thing, and I'm going to work on it this year. This is like one of my, I don't make resolutions, but this is one of my like not resolutions. So his Dark Tower series, which is some of his best work, has been going on since, I don't know, the
Too long.
early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I still have not finished book 7.
Don't.
Yeah, that's
No,
what my
Okay,
husband
but I
would say
have
too.
to.
Don't.
I have to. I have
Okay,
to.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
like 40 years invested into this. you
okay,
know?
this isn't a spoiler, but like
No,
at
I
one
know.
point-
I know somebody dies. I know that.
No,
Because
no,
I
it's not
saw a
even that.
spoiler.
It's not even that. There's like literally a scene in the last Tower book where Stephen King like comes in. He's like, "Hey, Stephen King here. If you really like this
Stephen-
series, stop reading here."
Oh, really? Because he was in the book before that, or
No,
early
he like
on that book.
He's like, if you want to keep liking this story, stop reading here. Don't read the following pages. And I
Oh,
was the
okay.
dumbass that kept reading, and then I threw
That's
the book across the
bizarre.
room.
Everybody
Oh,
would carry on
man.
reading, wouldn't they?
Now, what do I do? So I should just read to that point and then stop?
It's up to you. I'm just warning you. I threw the book across the room.
Oh, well, I've done that a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, but oh God, but I still I've been
you
invested
say-
with that story. Roland the Gunslinger. I've been invested in that story
listen,
for 30
read it.
years.
Read it, and then we'll have a call and we'll bitch about it together. That's what we'll do. This is the other
God.
way that we bond.
How do you ruin Roland? Like, oh, and don't even
it
get me
happens.
started. Don't
Yeah.
get me started on the movie. Do not get
Yeah.
me started on the movie.
The
Yeah,
casting.
exactly. Well,
The casting, listen, I love that actor. I can't pronounce his name, but I love that actor. But he's not the gunslinger. He doesn't have steely blue eyes. He's not called Honky by one of the other characters.
That's the truth.
I'm speaking truth.
did you see that they're reimagining 1984
That doesn't
from
exist
Winnie's
to me.
point of view? It's going to be a feminist
No, we're living
retelling
it.
of
We're
1984.
living it. Yeah.
No, I refuse. Like
Nope.
shit like that is why I go by like the original publication, because like I can't
Yep.
trust people now. Like I'm gonna be
by
like
yeah.
I'm gonna be like that character from like V from Vendetta, like in his back safe room with all like the forbidden publications, right? Kind of like you didn't
Mhm.
see this.
You need all the originals.
Don't
Yeah. Well,
don't read the sequel / prequel to Kill a Mockingbird. Don't do it.
Don't do
well,
it.
she never
not
intended
do
that to be published. She never wanted that
No
published.
kidding.
Her estate
I-
did it, and there's
I
reasons
made the
why she didn't want it
mistake-
done.
Because it's my favorite. I'm wearing the shirt, okay? I'm wearing the shirt. It's my favorite book of all time. So of course, a book about that comes out, I'm going to read it.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I have it. I haven't
And-
read it though.
No, don't do it.
This is like me
They're
with you
also-
in Dark Tower. I'm like, don't do it. You're
Right.
like, I have to.
No, don't do it.
Well, it's like they're remaking, like they're remaking movies and all. But and I can see that, Carol, you've said before, it's because people they're not willing to make new stories, so they take their stories and put them on existing IP.
Yeah.
But they're
they do that.
remaking time. Okay, they're doing their woke Snow White without dwarfs, so all those actors don't get a role, right? So they're remaking Time Bandits without dwarfs. So yet another
Oh, what? Wait,
way to actors who
that's-
happen to be dwarfs, they don't get jobs again in this time. It's like, really? You're like,
Good job,
how
guys.
is that? It's not very
Maybe
inclusive.
inclusive. Getting all these
I'm
actors
just-
to not have jobs. Woo!
I'm just so excited that I know somebody who's read the Dark Tower series.
I have so what was really funny is that when I lived with my parents in England, they were really big on like, we're not going to let you watch any TV like whatsoever. Like they thought that, they were like, it's garbage for your brain.
Yeah.
And this is back when there was only like 4 channels on BBC, and one of them was Graham Norton, right? So all I had to do was read my mom's vast collection of Stephen King, and she had like 58 books at the time. So I just
had
started
all of them.
Yeah, I started from one and started working my way through like all of them.
God,
Yeah, and so
they
I
used to
finished.
be so good. They used to
Yeah.
be so good.
Like Carrie was
Yep.
great. I loved Carrie. Like
Carrie
Carrie
and
made me
Misery
uncomfortable.
and
Pet Cemetery and
oh my
Tommy
God, they were
Knockers
all so
and-
good. And the
My-
one with Christopher Walken, and I mean, like, yes,
My favorite is actually the one that Stephen King hates the most. It's Rose Matter. That's my favorite book that
Oh,
he's
yeah.
ever written.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's like, I hate that book. Like, it's just complete trash. And I was like, it was great. What are you talking about?
He was drunk or high or whatever. Yeah.
I think he was seeing himself as a certain character, and it made him uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
God.
he wrote it, so
Yeah, I'm just I'm very upset about the whole decline of Stephen King.
Makes me sad. You a great writer.
Yeah, because I used to go back in the day before all the internet, Kindle and all that. When his book came out, I would go to Costco the first day because they had it cheaper than Borders or Barnes and Noble or whatever. And it was like half the price of the manufacturer. When it came out that day, I was there to buy it.
Mhm. There's a really good let me throw my phone in here now. Okay, I got a click, so I apologize. One of my friends, recommended me a couple of books, and after 3 books, I was like, okay, I can't trust you, right? And part of it is because like I think my train of thought is like the kind of reading I need at this point needs to be above like the high school angst level, right? But unfortunately, all of like the really popular books are like nothing but like high school angst. So like I read Fourth Wing, and I really liked the idea of Fourth Wing, but I did not like the story of Fourth Wing. Like at one point, they were all, it's basically like military academy where all these cadets are trying to kill each other while not being killed by dragons that they have to be friends with. And I'm like, that sounds cool. Like I'm totally down for that. But at one point, they're having like this training session where they're all working on like their hand-to-hand combat. Oh man. And at one point, the obvious love interest of the story like just takes off his shirt, and like literally the whole room stops to like gawk at this guy's body, even the dudes. And that's when I was like, nope, we're done.
Right.
But let's see.
Substance, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband and daughter read the Superpowered series. I don't know if you've read that one, but it's
Mm-mm.
about academy of kids who have powers, where they go to learn how to use
I'll
the
check
power
it
so
out.
they could be the next heroes. And some of them are parents, you know, they're descendant of kids who, and there's like 4 or 6 books, but he wrote them first as online as a serial,
Mm-hmm.
and then he put them into books. So it was free online. But I think they're in Kindle Unlimited too.
Oh, nice.
But my
Okay.
Nice.
my daughter met him. He came to Vegas and did a meetup, writers meetup, and she met the author, and he was shocked at how it blew up, like because he was just writing it like on a blog, and then it just
That's
ended
how
up
all the
being like
good
4 or
ones
5
start
books.
right now. Like,
Mm.
so don't. Okay, now we're on the Caro bitch soapbox, right?
Okay.
So a couple of years ago, like the one thing that all publishing houses wanted is like wanted debuted authors. They wanted young, fresh authors from college. And that's an oxymoron because young, fresh authors from college don't have a lot of fresh ideas. I'm sorry.
Well, they haven't
Mhm.
lived yet.
Yeah, pretty much. Their
They're just
experiences-
recycling what they've seen. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they wanted to get them young because they were hoping to get like those keep them running, right? Like keep making more and more stuff. And when they realized that wasn't going very well, they changed tactics. And you can tell they changed tactics because when you go into the bookstore now, there's no new debuted authors in the center table aisles. That's how you know what the state of publishing is. So right now, you're only going to find stuff that's been published for like 20 or more years, right? Your guaranteed sales, Harry Potter, like, the classics, Edgar Allan Poe, all that jazz.
Danielle Steele. Yeah.
Yeah. Names that we've heard a million times that people are always going to at some point be like, oh, this would look nice on the shelf. I will feel
Tom
sophisticated with
Clancy.
this title.
Yeah.
So now
You got everything.
when you are an author and you are applying to be
Got you.
published at a publishing house, one of the first things that they're going to ask for is your sales history. If you've never written a book before, you don't have a sales history. So they're going to turn you
Right.
down because you don't have a readership, right?
Right.
The only way you can get a readership is that you have to be promoted, or you already have to have built up a fandom on a place like a blog.
Right.
There is a story. It's called "The Man Who Fight" or "He Who Fights Monsters." This guy has been doing this blog in Australia for like a while, right? And when he got enough popularity from the blog, that's when publishing houses were like, "We see that you have readers. We would like to take your book and put it in a paper thing and send it out to other people," right?
Mhm.
But it's like until then they weren't going to talk to him, right? And then I'm wondering if I've got it here. I know I have it here because my friend sent it to me. I was like, wow, this thing's a weapon. Where is it? I don't know why I can't see it. It's like the biggest fucking book I own.
It's not The Stand.
I
No.
have to go to bed.
Go to bed, quick.
Oh,
before-
Annie, thank you so much for coming.
Don't let me
No,
rant more at you.
I'm very
Bye.
quiet though because I'm tired.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much. Oh.
Our cat was meowing at me in the middle of the night last night. I mean, I didn't open my eyes or move, but she kept jumping on the bed and meowing at me.
Thank you.
Get some rest. Thank you for coming.
She gets away with murder.
I love
Thanks for
hanging out with
having me.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry. Answer in the chat.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, He Who Writes Monsters, not a bad book, but this thing like really needs an editor.
Writing it down. Okay. He who
Yeah.
writes monsters.
Here, I've got it right here for you. Now
Right.
it needs an editor, and the reason I say it needs an editor, and if
Fights
the author,
monsters.
yeah,
Yep.
if the editor, if the author of this, hears me say this, I'm just being honest, because it was in blog format, he's got a really a huge amount of repetitive detail. So, for example, the main character likes to go on these Marxist rants about society. He does it every chapter. Every
Ugh.
chapter. Yeah. And when you're stuck in a car in an audiobook, you can't just skim over it, right? Because you're
Right.
saying the exact same thing as before. So I remember I was stuck on a bridge trying to get home, and I was like, here we are in the Marxists. Can I just skip through this? No, I can't because I'm driving. But yeah, nobody but he did it on a blog, right? He started off
Right.
there. 50 Shades of Grey, that started off as fan fiction on somebody's
Yeah.
website. And then they were just like, oh, I guess I'll just change some names and I'll just self-publish it. And
It
then
was
self-published.
Twilight fanfic. It was Twilight fanfic.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
want to
there's a
say it.
lot of self-published people that then turn their stuff into, to the houses.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, the houses approach them because they basically
Right.
see that, like, oh, you're selling really well, so
Right,
we'll bring
right.
you in. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, like
Right.
we have to stop this nonsense. Stop it. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
No, I enjoy book rants. I'm so excited that you know about the Dark Tower.
Do you not?
Yeah, my
into-
husband read all those.
Oh, seriously. One of my top 10 books of all time is The Drawing of the Three. It is just epic. Getting those three people on the gunslinger's journey is just, it's genius. It's just
Mhm.
genius.
I'm telling you,
It's
that
one of
last
my
book.
favorite books of all time. I mean, that's
Are you
what
Are you gonna
Dark
Are you
Tower
gonna
took.
read it recently? Are you gonna read it soon? Because if not, I'll just start reading all of it over, and then
See, I thought about that. I thought about, should I start it all over? Because, like, let's face it, 6 is a little draggy and it's got some weird stuff in it. And I've read like a quarter of 7. But the thing with the train was kind of interesting. And the thing with when he goes back to his country with Susan and all that, that's kind of interesting. But do I want to reread it all again? I don't know. But maybe I should. You know what I mean?
There's this
Like when a new season of a show comes out, do you want to, can you go through it all, or can you just start? I don't know.
there's a series
you watch
of
all
books.
of Supernatural.
I've never seen Supernatural. It's on my list.
There's a series of books that my husband and I have read by Raymond Feist, and it's a fantasy world, and there's like 30 or 35 books, and he wrote them over a period of like 30
Ooh.
years. And every couple of years, a new book would come out, and I'd have to go back and reread because there were spin-offs. Like there's a main couple of main stories, and then spin-off parts of certain
Right.
characters. And he finally, a couple like 2 or 3 years ago, put out the last book in the series. So now I have to go back and reread all 30 books to find out where I was when I left off, because it had been so long since I had read them.
That's what I'm thinking about doing, because
That's
if
why-
I'm going to finish this series, which I don't know, book 7 came out, I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years,
10 years.
who knows?
10. It came out 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
And I
that's-
read a quarter of it and I stopped. So now, do I want to just go back and then just binge the entire thing? Maybe, probably.
yeah. See, that's why my husband, we won't read series unless they're complete now.
Yeah.
That's
I
rough
don't
on
watch
authors.
series. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
it is rough on authors, but he got screwed with George R.R. Martin and
Yeah.
a couple others
Because
who
we-
never finished.
because we
Yeah.
can't decide if the series is worth
It's
finishing
good
if
unless
nobody
you get
buys
people.
Right.
it.
I know.
Right.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I totally get that. And some things I will read, but like on certain things, he won't start it.
You
Start
can
a
just leave it
series
on
until
the
it's
shelf.
done.
Just buy it
Yeah.
and be like, okay.
Oh,
when
he'll
it's
get
done-
it, but he just
Yeah.
won't read it.
That's
He
fine.
just won't read it until it's
Please,
done.
please make sure that
No,
we
no.
know that you want to read our
No.
shit.
No, if he likes the first one, he'll buy it. He'll buy them, but he won't finish them until they're all done, because he's gotten caught a couple of different times
It's
where they
funny
never
how-
got finished.
It's funny
or,
how people are about books, isn't it? Like, you just have your. So, like, for example, Stephen King's, the one with the Pet Cemetery. Okay, when that book came out, so I used to go when a book came out, I get it in paperback, whatever.
Mhm.
So we adopted a cat at that time, and his name was Church. And so I had a vision of what a cat named Church looked like, and what a little boy named Gage looked like, and then that's what you. And now, I don't know. It's not the same anymore, because they want to change everything. Well, that's not what we meant, and I don't know.
yeah, well, it's like my son and his girlfriend. He's read the all the Frank Herbert Dune books. He hasn't read the Brian Herbert ones. and she's just reading. She's just reading him now. And yeah, he was just like, yeah,
Mm.
he's like,
Yeah.
clearly Frank Herbert was on drugs in the 60s.
Yeah.
Big time. And you can hit just the wackiness, like craziness level. You lose the story in sometimes when the characters get so off the wall.
Yeah.
The story's
Yeah.
lost. Like when you
And
have
that-
no affinity for characters, like I hate reading a book where I don't find anybody likable.
Right. Then you just
Or
don't
you
care
watch a
what
movie
happens
and you're
to them.
like-
yeah.
Like the remake of Roadhouse. Jake Gyllenhaal's, he's very personable, cute, good looking, but nobody in the movie was likable. Nobody, not even his character. It's like, why would I want to watch this when I have no affinity for anyone? I hope you all get beat up because, none of you are good people, pretty much.
Yep.
And
I feel like I feel that more when they adapt a book to a movie, because books to me, okay, are so personal.
Yeah.
Like the person in that, if I find them likable, they're my friend. And I feel like when the book's over, I'm like bereft. I'm mourning the loss of that friend or
Well,
whatever.
it's
Then you want to
also
put
your-
it in movie. Then you want to put it in movie, and it's nothing like what it was described. It was nothing like for example, it's a stupid example, but it's the best one. The Running Man by Stephen King.
yeah,
He was a
The movie was
normal
nothing
guy. He was like 5'9", 155 pounds. He was just average Joe. Okay. So when they adapt it for the movies, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, that's not what it's
Well,
about.
That's
It's not
totally the
thing.
same casting. What are you talking?
Right. But that's not the point of that contest.
well,
you know.
it's like Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher.
I don't even
Tom
think
Cruise
there's
is like
something-
5'5".
Right.
Yeah. Jack Reacher was always defined as a giant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like a
My
mountain.
dog's opened the door.
So that you've already destroyed what readers already know.
Well, but that's because when you read it, you read the description of the character, and that's how you
Mhm.
see the character, and you see their mannerisms, and you see, how their face. You can imagine what their face looks and how they react. And then when they make it and they put somebody totally different, and I'm all for casting the best person for the role. So if somebody
Sure.
might not have the same hair color or whatever, I don't care. But you got to
Arnold
keep it true to the
Schwarzenegger
original.
was not the Running Man. The Running Man was
No.
like, and they described him. He described him. He's 5'9", 155 pounds or whatever. He's not Arnold
Yes, but-
Schwarzenegger.
Yes, but it was the 90s. It was the action hero era. They
No,
had to make.
that's not. But that's not an action hero. The
Arnold was hot. That's what it was.
Yeah, until he started being a shit. Yeah.
Well, I like the story that he tried to ruin Sylvester Stallone's career because he talked him into doing. He talked him into doing that movie
Oh yeah.
with the mom, with Estelle Getty,
Yeah.
because they were both. He told him he was going to take it, that he was up for the role and he was going to take it. So Sylvester Stallone took it, and it was not one of his big movies. So he was very proud of the fact that he convinced him to take that role.
Well, I guess what? I guarantee you, I believe Sylvester Stallone is well more like. Wait, what? More like.
Way more like.
Thank you. Than Arnold. The end.
Well, it's like, and I get when you make a movie or a TV show from a book, you can't put every scene in there because not every scene is adaptable for the screen. However, when you change major plot points or major characteristics,
Right.
people who've read the book are never going to be happy because that's not how they've already, read the person and read the plot and everything else. Or when you make things like the Rings of Power that have nothing whatsoever to do with the actual work.
That's
which is
right.
just
Bad writers
terrific.
do fan fiction.
Yeah.
There's some really good fan fiction. I've read some really good Harry Potter fan fiction, actually.
When I say that stuff is fan fiction, I know this is going to sound crass, but I don't mean it as a compliment. I mean that, you know, somebody with limited imagination wanted to write about their two favorite characters kissing.
Oh, right? I know. There's horrific fan fiction, but there's actually
and that's in Hollywood and wherever the studios, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, David Tennant used to get in trouble for writing Doctor Who fan fiction during class when he was in school.
But still, like you're okay. So when we're talking about fan fiction, you're talking about like the 10% of fan fiction, like the shit that we're digging for. Yeah, the stuff that we're looking for in the mountain of crap, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I know most it's crap.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like all the people that would write like original stories and stuff that was really good, I remember reading it and I was like, what are you doing in this universe? Like, yeah, like you should really be going and writing your own books. And some of them did go write their own books. And that was great. But yeah, no, like I think every time like I hear like they're gonna do an adaptation or a new script and I start reading the synopsis of it and stuff like that, I just like die a little bit on the inside.
Nope. Do not start remaking stuff. Nothing needs to be remade. Come up with your own ideas. Please stop remaking stuff.
We don't need remakes. We don't need sequels right now. Like just
no. Because we know what you're going to do to it and it's not going to be good.
Yeah. And like, so I was having this discussion with one of my friends because I was like creating at this point, and he works up for like a big studio up in Canada. And I said, creation and all the stuff that we want to do has now become a rich man's game, because the only way that we can actually create something without the influence of a studio is to fund it ourselves. And so I mentioned earlier that I have a comic, like issue 1 is done, right? Yeah. It's 24 pages. Each page costs me $100, right?
Damn.
Yeah. And I paid the whole thing over time, but like if I don't have that money to do that production, then the comic doesn't get made. I sadly don't have artistic skills. I just have a story that I would like to be visualized. So
you're going to be selling this at some point?
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of having it made ahead of time, so that way when 2025 comes out, I can kind of do like a gradual release on a website over time, and then as each issue finishes, I'm going to make it so you can buy the paper copy, because a lot of people, because I find that model works really well for the particular genre that I want to write. And unfortunately, I don't have the amazing following that my boss has to be kind of like, I wrote this comic, I'm going to put it on the website and then make $3 million.
But you will.
That's just not happening.
You could. Okay, Carol, guess what?
What?
He didn't always have that amazing following.
He didn't, and he spent like 10 years making it, and I did it. But I'm not at that 10-year mark. So,
but you know what? If you're associated with him, maybe you won't need 10 years.
Maybe I don't.
Maybe.
So like my ethical thing, like my personal weird pride thing, is that I don't want to latch on to Eric.
No, of course not.
To do that, because there's a lot of people in the sphere who keep running to Eric and basically saying like, give me a shout out, give me a freebie. And he's like, I'm not going to do that because I haven't read your stuff. Right.
No,
like,
and you know what? I think he knows that though. I think he knows by now. I don't know.
Well, you're established. You're an established writer. You're not some newbie.
Right.
Trying to latch on.
And
I want to have it out there.
Yeah.
But I respect you for not doing that. But I'm just saying it's not the same as.
There's a difference between sponging off somebody and somebody giving you a launch pad, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think anybody would think that you were using him, you know, and I don't think Eric would either, you know.
No. Yeah,
it needs to just happen organically and see what happens. You know?
Yeah.
There is one fan fiction that I wish I could have read, because evidently a teenage Terry Pratchett had a Lord of the Rings Pride and Prejudice crossover fic that he wrote as a teenager.
Oh gosh.
And I'm
Terry
sorry.
Pratchett is he's everything. Yeah.
It was Pride and Prejudice set in Middle Earth.
Oh God.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna walk back. I'm gonna walk back one of my statements about fan fiction. Just one of them. The only remake fanfic of something that I thought was fantastic was Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
That was very good. I read that.
I went in reading that expecting to hate it, and I was like, this is the most amazing fucking shit ever.
Because they didn't lose the charm of Pride and Prejudice.
No, and I always loved it when it would be like, and Elizabeth looked off into the distance as the horde of the undead came towards her, and with the solemnness of her figure, she reached under her skirts and withdrew her katana and prepared for battle.
I did like the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer too.
I heard that was really good.
That book was very good. It was way better done than I thought it would be.
I think I'll listen to that one after, because right now
it's on my list.
I'm on a Blake Crouch binge right now. So I read his Dark Matter book, which was like a really nice refresher after Fourth Wing. And last week I finished his Upgrade novel, which had to do with like a geneticist trying to stop terrorism by like altering like the genetic code of the population so they wouldn't succumb to like all this other stuff. Which I know like on the surface level sounds like complete gibberish, but it's a really good book. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm reading one right now called Hollow Ones, which is done by Chuck Hogan and Del Toro.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a horror one, but like there's something about like the storytelling. It's not just active voice, but it's one of those things that when you're in the moment, there's not like a lot of wasted passages that are going by. So I can't do Sarah J. Maas because Sarah J. Maas is like this. I'm gonna reenact it for you. All right, here we go.
Oh, I tried. I couldn't get into those. I know people love them. I know people love them, but I just could never ever get into those.
All right, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. They're both related. Here we go. So the first one, it's like she walked into the kitchen that her father had once occupied with her, and all those lost conversations and memories would never be revisited. She looked down at the wooded granite, thinking of all the times and memories that they had shared over various meals, handmade by each other and shared over thoughts and laughter, and now the place was silent. All right, that's scenario one. Scenario two. She walked towards the bus stop, the place that would transport souls from one location to another location, places unknown and yet to be found. And as she walked towards this waypoint, the vessel of transportation, aka a bus, would approach with various individuals lost within their own black mirror. Yeah, no, it's like that every time.
Yes. Yeah, no, just stop. Just get to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you literally spent 4 pages saying bitch got on a bus.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I have a book to recommend. I just finished it. It's called The Little Liar by Mitch Albom.
That sounds familiar.
Mitch Albom is the one that did Tuesdays with Maury. He's local here. He's been writing for the Detroit Free Press or Detroit newspaper for years and years and years. He's very good. I've read a couple of his books and they're very good. But this one, it's a Holocaust book, so it's a little grim, like they all are. But it's got a little bit of a twist to it. Who the narrator is?
Well, I don't know.
Good.
The best author for describing things has got to be Douglas Adams. He leant tensely against the corridor wall and frowned like a man trying to unbend a corkscrew by telekinesis. And my favorite, the ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't.
I like that. Good metaphors.
Hitchhiker Guide is just the most insane comedy story. He gazed keenly into the distance and looked as if he would quite like the wind to blow his hair back dramatically at that point. But the wind was busy fooling around with some leaves a little way off.
Oh, that's so good. That's such British humor there.
Yeah, it's just him and Terry Pratchett, just the way they described things.
Oh, Terry Pratchett was a genius.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the one that carried Good Omens.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I know, like, Neil sent it to him, and you know, Terry called him and be like, I know you don't know what to do with this story, but I do. So let me finish it.
I haven't watched those shows yet.
They're very well done.
Like,
they're very well done. I was very surprised.
that's
the chemistry. Chemistry with Michael Sheen and David Tennant is very good.
Good
Well,
Omens.
And
David
the third-
Tennant has chemistry with a cardboard box. Okay.
The third season is going to be the book that they never finished writing, and there's only going to be the third season because Neil Gaiman's not going past what he did with Terry Pratchett, so it's going to end where what they had done.
Terry Pratchett is just, those books are so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I did do the Good Omens manga crowdfunder because I had to because it was Good Omens.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that one sold out very fast.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot of scenes within Good Omens where I was like, how are they gonna pull this off on the screen? And every time I was like, never mind, you did it
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean,
haven't watched them because I'm afraid
the
to.
acting level is what carries it because they're so into their character. Like David Tennant is so into.
David Tennant's, he's
He-
into
he-
everything he
he's-
does.
And Crowley is so bad at being a demon. And he
Yeah.
plays that so well because he really doesn't want to do bad things. So he just
Right.
takes credit for them. And how
Right.
he acts it is just, and John Hamm is superb. He's so supercilious and just so obnoxious that you want to punch him in the face.
Oh, okay.
And Michael Sheen is just, they play off each other so well. The
It's so
timing
good.
is what's really good.
I got to
between the
put
two
it
of
on the
them.
list of stuff to watch. David and I right now, when we're not watching sports and whatever, we're watching
Sport
The
ball.
Blacklist.
I started that and I watched a couple seasons and then I just, kind of got repetitive.
We're into it. We're just timing and whatever. And I started to realize when I just last year or the year before watched that lawyer stuff. What is that show with Shatner? James Spader.
Boston Public.
Yeah, Boston Legal.
Boston Legal, sorry.
He was in all of our Gen X movies, and I never appreciated him until now.
No, he
James
was a good
Spader
actor.
is amazing.
Yeah. You
I
would
can play
Hated in
Devious.
them.
you
Yeah.
would probably
He-
like
he-
get a list.
What's that?
He would be very good. He plays very good devious
Yes.
characters.
You would probably like Terminal List that had Chris Pratt in it because I walked in there just expecting like
that was
blood.
good.
Yeah, no, Chris Pratt really like brought it, and part of why I say that is because I know what Vet-Eye, like military face, looks like,
Mhm.
and like he had it. I was like, that guy, he knows what he's doing. Because
Mhm.
like sometimes when they like to portray like military people, it's just your stereotypical cringe shit. But like he did a great job with it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. I mean, in my head, James Spader was always, what was his name? Steph.
mhm.
Steph from Pretty in Pink. And I was like, that guy's a dick. I don't want, And then I watched something he was in, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's really good. And then The Blacklist, he's even better. And I was like, oh, shit.
He is.
Yeah. So, that's how you evolve as a person.
Mhm.
And then we'll talk about the Dark Tower again.
You want to talk about that? Let's see. Yeah, so I already told you about the Hollowed Ones, which is what I'm reading right now.
That's on my list. I've heard good things. I just haven't.
I've enjoyed it very much so far. I've got 4 hours left. I'm an audiobook person because little bit of Carol lore. I'm dyslexic, so sometimes reading takes me a little bit longer than most people. So I just do audiobooks for the most part. And if you're asking how does that make writing easy, it doesn't.
Yes.
But I love doing it so much, so I have a work around it. But yeah, for my leisure reading, I use audiobooks for that. What was the other one I read? I have a spreadsheet. Like, I want you guys to understand, I have a spreadsheet of the books that I go through. Like, it's just insane.
I use Goodreads, so
I can't do Goodreads because like
People make the reviews more about themselves than
it's
I don't even look. I just put my books in there. When I read it, when I finished it, that's all I do. I use it kind of like I do Ravelry, just for the patterns, just for the I don't look at what everybody else thinks.
I used to do that, but like, so part of the reason I stopped was because I don't know how to make your profile private on there. And so like
Oh.
I had a stalker that was basically like reaching out and asking me about all these books that I was reading, and it's like
Ooh,
my man, if I don't respond to like 5 of your emails, I'm not going to respond to the next 50.
right? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, no, like, so sometimes if you get like once a month, like I'll interview somebody that's kind of like in an entertainment sphere, so books, movies, whatever. And every now and then you'll see that I'll kind of be like, so how do you deal with stalkers? And the reason I ask them that, if they're comfortable with it ahead of time, is because everybody has to deal with stalkers. So like Blaine Pardoe, right? Blaine Pardoe, amazing writer, like complete gentleman, just a total sweetheart, had a stalker for like 20 years.
Wow.
And his stalker would harass his publisher when he was writing for I can't remember the name of the publisher. They were doing a lot of the tech books. I forgot what it is off the top of my head. But and so that person would harass the publisher all the time. But things changed, and they changed because this harasser, who is a felon, could not hold a job and was documented as sending terrorist messages from his place of business and kept getting fired, right, for that thing, decided that his way to win was to identify as a single mother lesbian online.
What?
Yeah, and so when he started identifying as a single mother at lesbian online and sending in these harassing emails and stuff like that, suddenly the publisher's like, oh no, what do we do? It's like, no, it's the same person as before. It's like,
Yeah.
but now they identify as a lesbian woman. Like, we have to take this seriously.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so they ended up firing Blaine from his job that he had for like 30 years, right? He had been writing for this publisher for 30 years, had documented cases of this stalker and everything. But because they identified as a rainbow, Soundlight was like, okay, you got to fire you. Sorry. And the thing that makes it worse is actually just this morning, he sent me a link to that publisher page, because now that website, that publisher is doing like a rainbow special edition anthology, and they're featuring one of the stalkers' stories in it because they're rainbow.
Like,
Isn't that great? I love it. I love it.
I hate, I appreciate people. No, I don't, but I could say I appreciate people wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen, although I don't understand that. But when you start infringing on other people's lives and their livelihood and their well-being, then I have a problem with you.
I have to find out the publisher now because I feel like an idiot for not remembering. Give me 1 second. It just messaged me this morning, so it has to be here. BattleTech. I don't know how I forgot that. BattleTech.
Yeah.
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 Oh dear, Call of Duty, really?
BattleTech.
Call of Duty has gone down the Pride.
Yay!
Transgender bullets and rainbow themed assault weapons for Pride.
What is a transgender bullet?
It's got the transgender flag.
So does that make it like nicer or not? I don't.
If it's a hollow point, then?
Or is it rubber? No. Shh.
I don't know.
Silicone? I don't know.
Looks like Kim Jong-un attacked the ocean again. He needs to stop doing that.
No.
The news sounds terrible.
He was trying for
so
Korea,
we have
but
plastic
it keeps
straws
missing.
in the ocean, but he's firing missiles. What?
Well, he's firing them at other places. They just keep landing in the ocean.
I know,
he's not
but
very good at it.
we can't have plastic straws because of the ocean. But
But it's okay. It's okay because you get paper wrappers for your plastic. You get plastic wrappers for your paper straws, so it all evens out in the end.
No, I don't, because I don't use that crap.
I have a metal straw. That's what I use.
Yeah. Or
And
I
it's a
have
weapon if you need it.
Yes, for sure.
Or you could do a trach for somebody if you had to.
I mean, if I want to be creative.
You wouldn't want it. but
Create.
yeah,
If you're bored with crochet, you can start doing tricks.
that's right.
My
Hey,
husband.
you never know when some weird thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You
my
never
husband my husband was joking that if I wasn't knitting, I was killing, right? And I was like, well, I'm not knitting. He's like, it's the same thing. I was like, no, they're not the same.
It's not the same.
Say sorry, Judge, but he called it knitting,
He
and
called it
clearly
knockout.
it wasn't.
Crochet
I took-
hooks are not as sharp as knitting needles. Okay.
I can't make penetration jokes with this. Only like tip jokes. Okay.
Hey, so the book,
You're a hooker.
the knitting,
You're a hooker.
the knitting retreat mystery book that I started reading, double pointed needles were the weapon.
Nice.
Oh, well, that sounds like okay. So I would say the closest knitting yarn shop to me, because one just closed down. I went in there one day years ago, and to get some double pointed needles, I wanted some like ChowGoo or Knitter's Pride or whatever, and they said, "Oh, we don't sell metal double pointed needles because our customers say they're dangerous."
I remember when that happened.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. Our customers come in and they say they're dangerous, so we don't sell them.
You could just
So you
not buy
only sell
them.
bamboo. They only sold like high the bamboo ones. Yeah, and I bend all my double points, so but our customers don't like them, so we don't sell them.
That's insane.
And that was before COVID, when everybody lost their shit, lost their brains, lost their courage, lost their whatever.
I
You
don't know.
I went through an airport and I was wondering if they were going to take my crochet hook away from me. But they were like, yeah, you can go on through. I was like, okay, like I have a pointy object in my bag, but whatever.
No, I did have a pair of scissors taken from me, and this was 30 years ago. It was my grandmother's sewing shears. She'd given them to me, and I had them in my crochet bag. They were the 9-inch Guggenheim, fancy.
Oh yeah.
And the flight attendant took them, and she put them with her stuff for the flight, and then handed them back to me when I walked off,
Oh nice.
so that I didn't have to lose them.
That's
Oh,
She's like, here,
nice.
just hand them to me, and then she handed them back to me on the way out.
But you're clearly a danger to the everyone.
Yeah, I'm
on
like,
the
I'm
airplane.
crocheting. I'm not going to stab the pilot because then I would die. So what would be the point of that?
I mean, the
Right.
pilot's behind a locked door. That's bulletproof.
Yes.
Well, 30 years ago, they weren't, though. That's
Right.
the thing. They would let people come up in the cockpit. Like my dad was in Amsterdam for a business meeting, and they had overbooked the flight coming home. It was him and one of his coworkers, and they didn't have seats together. And they came up, one of the flight attendants came up to him and said, "We're overbooked. Do you mind riding in the cockpit?" And he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
What?
So he flew all the way back in the third jump seat. And
Nice.
once chatting with the pilot and the co-pilot, and when they found out he was an electrical engineer, they spent the whole flight explaining how everything worked, all the technical stuff. He was in seventh heaven. He took pictures from the cockpit window and it would never happen after 9/11.
No.
But then what was funny is when his coworker was getting off the plane, my dad was standing there. He's like, how did you get on the plane? I didn't see you. And they're walking down the concourse. He goes, you weren't on the plane. I looked for you. The pilot walked past him and said, "Bye, Roy. It was nice meeting you," to my dad. And his coworker's like, "How did you meet the pilot?" "Oh, I was sitting next to him." But yeah, back then it was a totally different world. They would let you take
it was
stuff on the
different.
plane.
Yeah, it was totally
Well,
different.
they used
Yeah.
to serve steak and give you steak knives.
Yeah, you had more room on the plane, and now like they're at a point where they can't find new pilots to replace the retiring pilots because in order to be a pilot, you have to like go into massive amounts of debt that you'll never pay off, and then they give you like a minimum. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to that industry because when they run out of pilots that don't want to work for dirt wages anymore, like.
Well, plus they got rid of a lot of them during the whole, what years.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know.
plus the planes are so dangerous right now. I mean, I wouldn't want to
Right.
fly anywhere in a Boeing plane. I'm sorry. They're just not safe.
Yeah, but
So-
their entire corporate structure is all DEI, so you're okay.
I'm safe. I feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Why
I saw
do we
someone
even-
talking about that. UCLA med school, half the 50% of
Yes.
the med students are not capable. And
Yeah.
it's like, they're still going to graduate with the title doctor
Mhm.
and they're still going to practice. So it's like the architect who doesn't have the qualifications, but he's building that
Mhm.
skyscraper that you're in. Or, the engineer building that plane that you're in,
The title.
was-
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there was like a short time when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to go to college for, and I had considered the nursing program because I saw that there was like a nurse shortage that was going out, right? And I knew
Mhm.
the hours were going to be long and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I was still like, let me just do my due diligence and maybe see if this is something I want to do.
Mhm.
And I ended up not doing it because when I went and talked to the advisor, they were like, well, first you have to pass a test. And I was like, this is a community college. Like, what is the test that you want me to pass? Right. And it was like, well, we just want to see if you have what it takes to be a nurse. And then after that, you can go on the waiting list that's 3 years long. And I was like, I thought you had a nursing shortage. Like, I thought
Right.
you needed nurses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we do. It's like, then why are you not like accommodating for the need right now? It's like, this is just how we're going to do it. And I was like, okay, let's look at different programs because this is not for me.
Yeah.
It's just like when they want to adopt dogs and cats, the shelters. We have so many dogs and cats that need homes, and we need you to come. And then you apply, and you have to apply, and they have to have a home visit, and then they have to have 3 recommendations, and they have to call your vet. Like, what are you doing? I thought you wanted to get rid of these dogs.
Well,
you
they're
know?
trying to make sure they don't get used as bait animals. And then there's
Well,
also
I get that, but they go
Yeah.
overboard with it,
Yeah, right down to the blood sample. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, pretty much in your DNA and everybody else's DNA. Yeah. So you'd
Yeah.
rather keep them. Okay.
Well, I'll tell
Well-
you what, like I went in to go pick up Kissy. You can't see I'm pointing at her. And they were all like, yeah, here you go, take her. And I was like, is that it? It's like, yeah.
Oh,
And I was like, well, how much is she? And it's like, oh, well, her adoption sponsored. I was like, so she's a free 50 dog. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool. And let me tell you, she is absolutely a free 50 dog.
All my dogs are rescues.
Yeah.
Lord help them. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, they complain that people aren't adopting,
Right.
but then they make it so difficult or time consuming
Yeah.
or expensive that people can't adopt.
And I understand that people do experiments on dogs like Fauci, but more people than not don't,
Yeah, and it seems to me that there's always going to be more animals coming in. So
Right.
yes, you have to check it. Have you ever been convicted of any crimes,
Right.
or charged with any crimes against animals or children? No? Okay.
Right.
Make the
Right.
decision because there's always going to be more animals coming in that are going to have to be put down because there's no one to adopt them.
Right.
And PETA puts down more
Yeah.
animals than any other
They
animal
kill
shelter
more.
out there.
Yes, they do.
But they lie about that. So,
Well, wait a minute. They're sponsored by the government, so they don't lie. Right? Nothing involved with the government lies, right?
no, Lord.
No, they take good care of us.
Sure.
Until they don't.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that word take care of us doesn't mean what you think it might mean.
No, it
No.
doesn't.
In that
Well,
context.
they would like
In
to
that
take
context,
care
yeah.
of us. Yes, they would.
No, because
Yeah.
like I remember when Obama got in office, and the first thing he did after he got in was he went after the McCain Vet Act bill, and he changed it. So, the whole reason I was actually able to go to college was because of that veteran bill that McCain put into motion, which is where we could go to college and have our housing paid for this at the same time, which is like that was huge for us.
Yes.
Mhm.
So then Obama got into office, and he went and he changed the bill, and he didn't grandfather anybody into it, right? And so I literally came home to a bill of like $4,000 of like they wanted me to back pay because part of what they altered was like, when you are in school, you must only take classes that go towards your degree, right? But when you're taking an elective, the elective is kind of like whatever you want it to be, right?
Right.
Well, because I wasn't grandfathered into it, they basically said all of my electives I had to pay for. I was already
Oh.
in like university at that point.
But you have to have certain number of electives to graduate.
Yeah,
Right.
you do. But in all
Right.
the electives can only be towards your degree. Right. So
What?
like
Then
at
they're
one point,
not
like
elective, are they?
no, they're not. And so like at one point, like I had taken like a weekend art class because I was like, oh, I like drawing and I'll do
Right.
this on Saturday. And they're like, nope, you gotta pay us back for that. And I was like, what the fuck?
Then define elective. You
Yeah.
know. Oh,
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was not pleased with that. And I had to like go back and forth with the VA on that. And we got it down from like $4,000 down to like 800, which I still thought was wild. But the crazy thing is that I had to like that took a month, right, of me, doing an audit with my office and them having to call like headquarters and basically say like, no, she needs those classes. They actually go towards her degree. And they're like, well, we don't feel like they do. And it was like, you are not a college administrator. Like, please stop.
your feelings don't matter.
Yeah.
We don't feel like they do.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I tell you like they take good care of us, like I say that with dead eyes.
Yeah, no, my husband deals with the VA because he has medical issues and yeah, it's
Me too.
there's so much runaround. There's so much runaround, and
I hate going
so
to
much-
the VA because every time I go to the VA, they're kind of like, okay, so we're going to reduce your disability by 10%. I was like, I literally have just met you. Like,
Yes.
I've never, like, have you even looked at my file? It's like, well, you seem perfectly healthy and able, so we're going to go ahead and just take it away. I'm like, no.
Yes, I know. David's disability has been cut, and we don't know why. Well, we kind of know why, but you're not allowed to talk about it. So the person that can barely walk with the cane is giving up money for people who just walk around, whatever.
Yay!
Yay! Because he worked at a bank a couple years ago, and he saw where Social Security money goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to who you would expect. It's not
Nope.
welfare, it's Social Security. It's going to able-bodied people who are new here and make choices that we don't make. That's all I'm going to say about that.
yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, we're at
we probably-
Yeah, I need to eat dinner.
Okay.
Ooh.
I was going to have to go
See my-
soon anyway.
See my
Yeah,
family.
I'm gonna go talk to the husband, and
You
know.
distracted me with Dark Tower and book talk. Well done.
I know we gotta talk about that.
Yeah, we do. We need to do more book talk on it because
Yes, we do.
we all read. So
Yes,
I don't like Goodreads because it's public either, and nobody needs to know what I'm reading.
I just put it
that's
on
my
there 'cause
choice
I
what
don't
I read,
care.
and I don't. I read a lot of different things that a lot of people I know would not like. So
I just put it on
I don't
there.
want to have to discuss it with them. So I read what I read, and it's nobody's business but mine.
I've
so.
never had a problem. I just put it on there so I can keep track and whatever, it's no big deal. But yeah, Dark Tower. Okay, so read it and get to the part where he says stop,
Stop
and then just
and
make
stop.
a decision, and then make
Yeah.
a decision.
Yeah.
Do I do what Caro did, or I just stop?
Yeah, my husband said he should have stopped too, but he didn't.
Okay, so I should stop. Okay. But then I know me, and I'm gonna be like, well, what did he say? What was it? I'm gonna
Here's what you can do. Enjoy like a whole day or a week where the story ends the way it does, and then you can have that memory, and then you can read the rest and then live with that.
No, I don't know. Maybe I'll
No,
maybe I should do it
no.
the day before I die, and then I won't have to live with it very long.
No, you read it and you enjoy it, and then you watch one of his interviews that pisses you off, and then you read the new.
Every
and-
time that man
and then-
opens his mouth anymore, I'm
Yeah,
just
but
like,
see, then you won't.
dude,
Then
are
you won't be.
kidding me?
Then you'll already be pissed at him, so you won't be more pissed for the new ending.
How do you ruin Roland and his story? Like,
I haven't read. That's one of the ones series I did not. I never started the Dark Tower. I always planned to, but I never did.
Girl,
Oh, no, you have to.
So-
you have to.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's on the list with so many others. Is the problem? There's just so many books.
Caro, when he walks through the doors on the beach, when
It's
he's
good.
on the airplane and Eddie is in his head,
Mhm.
yes, you know.
Audiobooks are good, but certain
Oh,
things I like
Detta.
to read.
Oh, Detta.
And there,
Well, We'll
I
start
don't
reading
have
it.
time to read. I don't
I'm
have time to read and knit and at the same time
No, you
unless
have
I
to
do
listen
audiobooks.
to it.
And then
And there's the word honky said a lot of times.
that's in the Steve. Oh my God, I was watching one of the video reviews and they were reviewing the Steve Martin King Tut and this
Yes.
couple. And when he
He's
said
my
honky,
favorite
they were honky. They were dying because they had
Yeah.
never heard that word before.
Oh, that's a good word.
All
You
right.
never
Well,
watched
it was-
Sanford and Son
Or
or George
Starsky and
Jefferson?
Hutch
Yeah, Starsky.
or
Yeah.
Starsky
Huggy
with
Bear.
a Hucky Bear.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah,
It's a good-
that was funny. I forgot how musically talented Steve Martin is. I mean, he's an
Oh,
incredible
God.
banjo player.
Banjo for sure. Yeah.
Someone posted in the comments that he was 50 years old 30 years ago because he had gray
Right.
hair back then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always had it. Yeah.
He looks the same.
All right.
And then there was one of the skits with Jane Curtin was the mom and Gilda Radner was the daughter, and Bill Murray was the date. Come take her to prom.
Yeah.
And she said 40 lashes with a wet noodle, and I had forgotten where I'd heard that one
Yes.
from, that it was Saturday Night Live.
Yes. There was a lot
I'm
of
like-
stuff. Yeah, back
I'm
when
like,
they were good.
You know, Jane Curtin, same age as Gilda Radner, but playing her mom, you know,
Jane, you ignorant slut.
and the wild and crazy guys on their dates.
They were Czechoslovakian, weren't they? The Czech brothers.
Something like that. I don't know. They tried.
It was so
and,
and
you know,
the samurai
Samurai cheeseburger, yes.
delicatessen, the samurai dry cleaner.
Cheeseburger.
Oh yeah, that Pepsi.
Yeah, I need to watch the land shark episodes before we do Shark Week
Yes.
again.
Yes.
With the land shark attacking them in their apartment.
You can find there's a channel. Is it Tubu or Freevee?
One of
or
them has
one of
them,
those
yeah.
channels. They have all of the old Saturday Night Lives. It's amazing.
Well, I was watching the whole Buckwheat saga last night with the Ted
Yes.
Koppel updates.
That's
and
amazing.
James Dutton Stubbs has been shot, and then they show it, and it's like the Jack Ruby shooting. And he's like, ouch, I'm shot, and then falls to the ground. I was like, it was basically two actors the entire time, Joe Piscopo and
Mhm.
Eddie Murphy playing pretty much all the
Joe
roles.
Piscopo was hilarious too.
He was.
All those
and,
guys, they were all so good.
And
Stevie.
Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman's the only
Phil
one who should ever
Hartman.
play. He's the only one who should have ever played Trump because he's the only one who played him well.
Mm. I'm gonna
His
have
Trump
to
was
go
hilarious.
if you don't end this
All right.
soon.
No, I'm
We're
going to
going
end it.
soon.
Thanks, guys.
We're ending.
Bye.
Okay.
Hopefully you
Kara's
don't get
making us
bad
go.
storms. Be
Kara's fault.
safe.
It's her fault. It's her fault.
Oh, it's my fault. Okay, I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Bye, everybody.
No, it's
Thank
not her
you.
fault.
Come
It
join
ain't
us
your
next
fault.
week.
Bye.